Life on the big Dookie chain, chilling with Tash, Van Stylez, my man Hush. Check us out.
All right. Tash, Stylez, and behind the cameras we got Hush, and we are all here in celebration of a dear friend and someone who's a lot of history in the hip hop game and in the artistic space. I don't know, the artistic space. Am I autistic trying to say artistic?
Space.
The autistic space. Anyway, Brian Life, y'all.
What's up?
Big Dookie Chain, episode number 9.
9, okay.
Yeah.
9.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Good looks. What's up?
What up, Mr. Life?
Well, thank you for making it all the way out here.
Thanks, man. I'm happy I made it. I know I've tried to set up a schedule with you guys before to come over, so right now it's kind of winter style, so we got that time.
Move the mic a little bit so it's.
We do have compression. We have compression, so we're okay. We should be all right.
So, but yeah, I'm happy to be here in the flesh and to actually see the studio, man. It's dope. All this memorabilia, all these significant stickers and artists around me.
Well, real quick, as you're sitting in here, someone like this must be for someone like yourself, because I would think just about everybody in this room, you're 90% of them,
most of these people that have done this art, my homeboys and people I know, One of the cooler things about a lot of this shit is it's all on Velcro, so we could have had you bring some pieces up, but when you take them all off the wall, it's all Merc signed like a little stupid thing, it's all personalized on the back. It's all like personal. Yeah, these are original pieces.
Yeah, it's all dope.
If they're prints, they're signed, like you said. Yeah, man, I'm around some legends right here. So
we're around a legend right here.
Indeed, and a bit of a homebody. So I wanted to say the fact that you made it out of the house
before we get into
happy
into Brian's art and stuff.
Man, I'm always in the lab.
Brian, tell us where you're from.
So I'm from Boston. I'm from Dorchester originally, and I moved over to Quincy, Mass. So when I was 15, so half of my life was on the South Shore. Stayed here mostly all my life. I lived in New York for 6 years. That was a pretty significant time. And I just so I'm from here,
You're from here,
and I love it, It's just.
Where'd you go to school?
High school.
Stuff.
I went to Madison Park High for 2 years.
What's that?
Roxbury.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had a really good art, they had printing, real print, offset printing machinery, and lots of good facilities to get your hands in and use the printing learning processes and stuff. So it was really good stuff. And then I went to high school in Quincy, Mass for 2 years, and then I was done. Went to the Art Institute of Boston, so
That's dope.
college here in Boston. They got acquired by Leslie Leslie University. So
by those Leslie,
they got eaten up and just chewed out. So
did you always know you're going to go into art?
Yeah, I always knew. Just because I was always doing art since a kid. Actually, my father was an artist, but I didn't know him. He was kind of like a deadbeat. He just I didn't see him since I was 8. So I just kind of was who is this guy? When I used to see his drawings, and I actually had a book that he drew, and hand drawings, pen and ink from Ireland, castles and boats and all this amazing art. And I'd be who is this asshole? I want to know him or be better than him, or I want to just. Who the fuck? How did he do that? Why is he driving a bus? He drives a bus for the MBTA, and I just was always confused. This guy is a fucking amazing artist. So that kind of gave me the drive to actually go against the grain. I did have to work jobs that I was not really so happy about, or just to pay the bills. But I always knew I'll die basically. I'll go 6 feet under being an artist, even if I don't make a living. I just want to live that life, because I know he didn't. And I don't know, this kind of sounds weird, but so I basically just would draw all the time. I think it was my way of being in touch with him in some way, or wanting to prove that I was worth it, and to show myself someday.
That's pretty interesting.
Weird.
You know what? I almost feel
abandonment issues. Yeah.
Well, we'll get into your abandonment issues shortly. You are on the therapist couch.
Yeah.
But it just occurred to me, maybe we should be doing this similar to Drink Champs, where we say at the beginning,
don't get too deep.
Well, before we get all deep, because people out there watching might not realize that some of their favorite album covers were drawn by you. Just so people have context to who you are and why they should be listening. So let's start from the first album cover you did.
like, I'd say the first album cover I did actually wasn't released, but it was from Biscuit Head Records, which DJ Bruno, he's like the house legend of Boston, the god of like house music in Boston. You know, like he's very revered and very respected as somebody who brought dance and like particularly house music to Boston. And he had a record company, like a record store on near Newbury Street on Mass Ave, and he had hip hop. A lot of hip hop artists during the 90s and early 2000s would release albums and go there and do signing, and like, so it was all vinyl and CD, and like it was dance music, like house music and hip hop. So it was a great source for hip hop. So they hired me one time to do like a compilation hip hop album called Biscuit Head Records, and it just never got put out. But that was my first time illustrating and like doing my art for a physical 12-inch, you know, like that I thought would be produced. And it was just basically a poster that they printed and put on the door, and they never got it fully like pressed. But after that, since all different MCs and people would come in, they started, like, people would find out about my art and hire me to do record covers. So like one of the major ones out of Boston I did was Mr. Liff Enters the Colossus. And it's like it was a staple for me. It was a big challenge. And he was he is a dope MC. He was pretty well known at that time. He also does current albums and current music. Like he has a song with Thievery Corporation, which is, world music kind of stuff, but he comes and raps on one of the songs, goes on world tours with them. But I was really proud of that.
Oh, he's huge. He was one of my introductions to hip-hop in Boston, or one of the main draws coming to Boston.
Shout out Mr. Liff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will, like I said, do another segment after this where we put up your album cover art and we'll go through it.
Keep looking up there. Yeah,
we'll
do that.
Switching it, but so like people like Mr. Liff, Acrobatic.
Which cover did you do for Acrobatic?
So it was
Balance was one of his. No, it was the EP before that.
Yeah, the EP, and then I did like You Got It or something. It was like about a girl, and like, what is it? She Got It. I forget the name.
Wait, you did a 12-inch for Acrobatic?
Yeah, I did like 2 or 3. I did 2 at least that I can think of right now. Usually, like, they were 12-inch record press, and then they were also CDs, so depending on what it was. Like the EP was a CD.
Yeah, I remember that. That was everywhere back
You
in the
got
day.
that, or You Got It, or it was some sort of term.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you do one for Acrobatic, no internet MCs or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Wow, that was
the biggest one.
Yeah,
that one stuck out to
It's
me.
called Internet MCs.
Yeah.
And back then, like, it wasn't so much big on YouTube, but it was a lot of chat rooms, and people would actually, like, chat and get in there and be trolls and start commenting, but they were calling them, like key style MCs, like the nerds in the suburb.
Yeah,
and they really just act like they're some tough guy, but they're really behind.
It's like Twitter fingers before Twitter fingers were Twitter fingers.
So this whole song was about like those kind of fronting.
Well, we had the sticker up.
Critics out there. So.
We had the sticker up in the I would say undergroundhiphop.com where I know you from, working there for 15 years. We had the sticker up over the office of internet MCs because that was so fitting for what was going on at undergroundhiphop.com, the nerd headquarters. Yeah.
And he was like, and he had like, 4-fingered ring on, and he had like Vaseline, and he had like a thesaurus and like how to be a rapper, rhyming dictionary. Like he was basically like, I'm on the computer, I've got all this.
No, you captured the super nerd perfectly. But what I didn't like about that is there were multiple people who were comparing me to him, being like, "That's you up there."
Kind of look like you,
and I'm
like,
dude.
Sorry,
why you gotta put me on blast like that? Why'd you do a whole cover with my face on it?
Yeah.
Now, did you do that with his him in mind?
By him,
was it really?
Yeah, was it?
No. But it wasn't.
No.
So
I don't think I even knew you.
We're gonna pull. We're gonna pull this up later, and we're gonna have to check this thing out. I gotta like.
Funny, man.
I know I've seen this thing before.
It was dope. It was like
it's the guys in front of the TV. I'm trying to think of.
I have the 12-inch. I wish I had brought in my records.
So he was kind of like a cartoonish character, but kind of realistic.
Yeah.
And a lot of my early hip hop record covers had a lot of realism. Like I would paint portraits of different MCs and people, but this was more of like a cartoonish, characterized version, exaggerated features.
Where was the realism on the big titty? What was going on the Enter the Colossus
it looks
album
a little
cover?
like him.
Yeah.
It looks a little. It looks a little like
Enters the
you.
Colossus. Mr. Lift wanted me to make like this like 7-headed beast, and he's very political and like conspiracies and the government, and he gets on a lot of subjects, you know, like
it's an amazing album.
Fight the power, and like he's very like conscious about what's corruption and government control and different things, and like he just wanted this 7-headed beast over the city and money, and I was like, all right, let's keep it down to maybe 3 heads because the 7 is a lot, and I so basically I drew like a 3-headed humanoid type person, and there was sort of a woman like morphed in there, and on her breasts, instead of breasts, there were mouths, like open mouths. Weird, but it was a way to like be able to utilize sort of nudity, but not, because instead of like black dots or something, I just put these open mouths.
The titties
so she
were
was
talking.
representing like lust and all that kind of shit. And then there was like people like chained to the buildings, but they're trying to scoop money, but the buildings were made of like, instead of bricks, they were like gold bricks holding them down. It was this whole conspiracy, the whole thought of like the belly of the beast and keep feeding greed and wanting to get to the top. And it was cool, you know. It was, it was crazy.
I mean, honestly, what everyone wants to know is, did any Brian Life super fans ever tip you off to the fact that they were beating off to the talking breasts?
Talking breasts? No, no one ever told me that.
Okay, because we had that.
I think you just heard someone tell you that. I think you just heard someone tell you that.
There's your first man. Well, the reason for that is just to
TMI.
But
welcome to the show.
In the back of undergroundhiphop.com at the end of the CD aisles.
We don't know where you do it, man.
On the end of man, but we had the Enter the Colossus, like a huge like record store cardboard cutout, and he just kept staring at me. So I don't know, what am I supposed to do? I'm there on a Sunday, no one else is working, like.
Oh man!
A slow day in hip hop.
It might have traveled to the blunt room in the back with me, where there's no cameras.
2 holes. Yeah,
but I feel like that's one of the. Would you say that's one of the best compliments you can get as an artist?
That they get off to my art, like maybe, yeah. There's a real. I would say like one of my best pieces is this painting called Aqua Girl, and she's like, it's just a girl with a green background.
Didn't you make an NFT out of that, right?
I did, yeah. That was my first NFT that I sold for like $3,000, so I was pretty happy. Because when I actually sold the real painting in New York at a group show, they wouldn't tell me who bought it, and they took half. So I sold it for $3,000 way back in New York. They wouldn't tell me who bought it, so I'm like, who the fuck collects art and doesn't want to know the artist? Like, that's pretty weird, right?
They probably know who drew it.
And they gave me $1,500, but who knows if they sold it for more? You know what I mean?
But I'm sure whoever bought it knew who you were. This is like donating, not to bring it back, but it's like donating sperm. You don't know who your child is and who their daddy is.
What were we talking about?
I was donating sperm while looking at Enter the Colossus album cover. This is what I'm saying.
But a lot of people,
everything is circular.
Hold on, back to
what about my point?
A lot of people would be like, "Yo, like I'm falling in love with her," or "Ooh," if I'd have her on my business cards, it'd be like, she's like my girl.
Oh, she was beautiful.
I wish she was my girl. Like that, I always get that compliment. Love at first sight, or and I feel the same. It's like it's definitely one of my best pieces. I try to outdo it, but I kind of can't. Like, and it's been 10, 15 years, and
was there someone who was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, she actually lived in Brooklyn. I ended up meeting her. Her whole family came to the art show. She was beautiful. It was like her whole like her sisters were gorgeous. Her mom and dad were together forever. Like this really just amazing family.
So how the fuck did they not purchase it at the art show?
They just came to the show and like
that's madness.
And you felt like you never have touched that since?
I have in a way, but something happened that night. Like, so I was working for Ecko Unlimited back then.
I want to get into all that. I got
I was kind of like slaving there. I was working like till like 9, 10 at night on salary, but it's like if you want to leave, no one else leaves, and we had a lot of workload. So we had like G Unit, that they owned G Unit, and they owned Baby Fat, I think, or I don't remember, maybe not that, but Zoo York, which is like a kind of skate company that they purchased. So we would do a lot of extra art aside from Ecko Unlimited, and I would just getting drained, like Kanye West performing downstairs when we couldn't like go down to the show, or like DJ Jazzy Jeff walking around and like he's showing everyone stuff, and we just have to be there at the computer working. And like you just kind of, it was dope. There was perks, but it was so I had this art show and I wanted to do something new. So I'd come home. I used to drink a lot, smoke, blaze blunts, text somebody and get the weed delivered to you prior to before it was legalized. So you just text somebody.
Like in Half Baked.
It's just
On the
like in
bike.
Half Baked.
Mr. Nice
They come
Guy.
on the
Yeah.
bike.
Samson.
Yep. They come on the bike. They'd have like a little briefcase full of all kinds of high strain, and you just pick what you wanted, little plastic container, square container.
You were in New York at the time.
Yeah, in New York. In 2008.
Because Boston doesn't have that shit.
No, that was in 2008, and it wasn't
They
legal.
still don't got
it
that
was
shit.
amazing. It was like, it would take a while for them to get there because they'd be a fleet of people.
And they're on
their,
bikes.
That was their job. Yeah, it was cool. Like, you knew them all. And they'd come and hang out, sometimes smoke a blunt with you. And then, so I did that piece because I was sick of my artwork and I had an art show coming up. I was sick of, like, the paintings that I had were, like, not really expressed myself. I don't know. I just didn't, because I was working so hard for Ecko every day, you know? And I had a huge loft, like an artist's dream studio, but I just was so tired by the time I get home. I didn't want to do any paintings. So anyway, this Friday night or after work, I got home, printed out a picture of that girl who was just some beautiful girl that I saw. I think I tried to friend her and she didn't friend me back. And it was just, yeah, like, but I collected her, like a creep collected her images.
Yo.
But I do collect like beautiful women.
When you're an artist, you can just do shit like that, right?
Right. So you get to collect
So-
images of a girl that you thought was beautiful, but
Yeah.
who didn't
And then I
friend
met
you
her,
back.
and then like we kind of had a little something that maybe could have been somewhere. It could have got somewhere, but it's a big ass story.
But your money
But
mouthpiece
later, so
wasn't on
working
point, dude.
so
You
I
did all the
made
legwork.
Dope painting in one night. It was the first time it was a big airbrushed painting, but I just smoked, like maybe drank wine while I was doing it, and just killed it until the sun came up. And then I was like, wow, I just did like the best thing I've ever painted, because nobody was paying me for it. It wasn't like a commission job.
I know
And
what it was
felt
for.
real good. It was just,
I know what it was for.
We all
It's
know what
all
it was
starting
for.
to make sense in
And
my
then-
fucking
and
head
then-
right
so
now.
she comes back into my world at some point.
After
where
you painted this amazing painting of her.
Yeah.
it like she like manifested.
You can't hate on the guy.
Did that
I
get
mean,
you? That got you the.
if I could
that got her
paint,
attention.
if I could
Yo.
paint as well as him, I would also be painting fucking
that's-
portraits of beautiful
instead
women.
instead of sliding into somebody's DMs,
You just like-
you slide in,
Yeah.
but with the portrait
amazing
painted of
fucking
them.
portrait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it kind of happened. where
I would have. Yeah, I would
her
imagine.
friend saw the printout. I had a print on my computer at Ecko Unlimited, and like this dude was like, "Yo, I think that's Mark Ecko's secretary. You got to get down there." And so I go down to this like third floor, and he has like a basketball court, kitchen, all this crazy shit on this whole floor. It was like his floor. And
Must
it was
be
above.
nice.
It was above a Home
like
Depot.
like Rob Dyrdek
Manhattan,
almost.
in Manhattan. Yeah,
Like
it was
Fun
like,
Factory
like
type
that
shit.
kind of stuff. Yep.
Tom Hanks and Big.
Yeah, like that. It was like above a Home Depot, so you can only imagine
The noise
and
you can
he
make,
Owned
yeah.
all these buildings, all these floors, and so I go down there,
Like
I go
Willy
up to
Wonka
her,
and the Chocolate Factory.
sort of like with the piano, and you know, you
And
can
the-
like
and the
make
Ecko
music
Factory.
when you
The
know.
Ecko
So I go
Factory.
up, I'm like,
And you
well,
were
this
one of the little
ain't you,
Wonkas.
but somebody told me she looks like you, and she was like, oh my god, I know who that is. Come over here. And she showed me like her computer, and she's like, yo, that's my friend, you know, bleep bleep. And I was like, wow, yeah, that is her. And she goes, I'll let her know, man. Like, you need to show her this painting. So I messaged her like, hey, this is kind of weird, but I painted a painting of you, and like it's done. So
It better be good.
I hope you like it. And then yeah, she loved it, and she was like, oh man, I needed this. I was depressed, and you just brought me out.
Imagine if that was me though, and I'd like it's a stick figure. You know what I mean? Like fucking like, yeah, I made this
Just
painting
put it
of
on
you.
me.
Here you go. It's
No.
like, yeah, calling the police.
But
Yeah.
that's actually not a bad idea to just hit up girls and be like, I painted this portrait of you, and it
Yeah,
is like a
if you
fucking
could-
stick figure.
well,
Because they might laugh.
Well,
Because laughing is what
yeah.
leads into the
See,
panties.
we missed the biggest part of that story right there was he's working at Ecko Unlimited.
Right.
So what did you do? He's good enough to work for Ecko Unlimited.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started working for
Yeah,
Ecko
how'd you
Unlimited?
I
get
mean,
that
that
job?
was in like 2007. So
How does one go
I'm
about that?
47 now. So like, actually, it
Damn,
was
don't
like,
date yourself like that on
I
this
don't
show.
give a
Come on.
fuck.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
a wise
Dude,
old
you didn't even
man.
give him the chain yet. What the fuck?
Wise old
Oh,
man.
shit.
Dude, while he's telling us about Mark, yeah,
Oh.
you got to put him the chain. But then we got to
You
hear
worked
them.
for Echo in their
Yeah.
prime? That was when
Are
they
you gonna,
did the
like-
triple
Yeah.
threat.
You gonna-
Oh, you're gonna crown you.
Well, we gotta
There you
take
go.
this off.
There you go. You're good.
Gotta take that off.
You got the other one too, the tall one. The three.
Oh,
Now I feel good, man.
beautiful.
I gotta spray-
Now the
I gotta
real
spray
interview
paint
can
this
start.
Gold again.
Yeah, see, you know,
It's real.
Notice
that's
something.
that's white gold underneath it.
Wait, as a graphic designer, do you notice the fact that mine is so much shinier than yours?
Yeah, man.
Like
This is what you
on
can do.
purpose.
His is platinum.
You got that magic
Yours
stuff.
is platinum.
from them.
Okay. Because I made
Brothers.
mine a little bit shinier than the guests,
You just
so I could have that leg up.
So, but hold on, let's get back. So how does one? So what year was this? Mock Ecko? Because Mock Ecko was fucking Ecko Unlimited was fucking huge.
Yeah, like
huge.
So I wasn't like a big. They were huge, and they were in every major.
Well, it started out in like Hip Zeppies and shit, and then it moved to like all of a sudden Macy's and Filene's and shit carried it. Like eventually, yeah. But it
so
started.
that was like the tail end when
you were there.
Worked it. I wasn't a big fan. Like
When they sold out.
Yeah, kind of like because I feel like they sold out. They basically became just about the logo, branding, this rhinoceros logo. In the beginning, they were like conceptual. His T-shirts had like a lot of, fight the power kind of stuff, like police and like different corruption, like basically revolting types of subjects. And it was cool, like illustrations of, graffiti artists running from pig cops, like cops that look like, it was just really good. But his partner was more the money man, and like he drove him more into branding.
Yeah.
And at that time, a lot of the clothing, like Rockaware was big, and like a lot of these clothing brands were more about the logo, just super branding, and everything kind of. That's where even streetwear, I think, started to go down and decline. And like, I don't know what's hot now, but at that time, it just became too much
basically what
logo-based.
you're wearing.
Yeah, plain basic stuff. Like I went basic. I went like very like not like boring or minute.
What did you do at Ecko Unlimited?
So I did like T-shirt graphics, like designs for all their apparel.
Are there any like are you know those shirts that we used to all see? Like
Yeah. A lot of people would wear them and be like, "Yo, I got that," and yes. So, but this is at that time, so it was like the late.
We're gonna have to pull some of that stuff up later because
Yeah.
like
I think
some
on
of them
my
are like
website, there
some of
is
them are
some.
huge shirts. Like I'm trying to think of the one I had
That was my entire teen years rocking Ecko.
you were wearing his shirts and not even realizing.
Yeah,
it.
no, that was before I even knew him.
I mean, I didn't like.
You do all of them,
I
but
didn't like Ecko that much.
Although that was
Come on.
2007, so yeah, it was like the end
I was
of
too
my
cool for
Ecko.
Ecko. So
I had a really cool one. It was a guy smoking a joint or a blunt. Like it was like the angel and the devil were like strangling each other
Yeah,
in
I
the
didn't
smoke.
do that.
It was pretty dope.
I
But I did
remember
this-
that one.
This
It was
girl,
dope.
Yeah.
this one girl, she had like she was like just a fine model chick or whatever, but half of her body was dripping down, like from her waist down was all this dripping, and she was covered in graffiti tags, her whole body like kind of tattooed in a way, and she had a can of spray paint, and her hair was like swirly. So that one's pretty.
That was dope.
I still have that on my website because I like think it was dope.
Do you have these vintage clothes?
No,
for,
I
like,
don't have it.
Damn.
Oh, that'd be worth some dough now.
Yeah.
Though, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, people
Especially
actually
now
rock
that
it
like the
now.
'90s are coming back
People
and shit.
do
Yeah.
rock. I've seen some Ecko stuff out there, and I'm like, so I was only there for 1 year, but
But how the
how
fuck?
did I get the job?
No,
or-
but how the
Yeah,
fuck?
how does one come,
No,
like, oh.
before that? How the fuck do you not have like at least one of each piece of apparel that had your
even
art
record,
on it?
I've done so many record covers where they say, "Oh yeah, we'll send you a print," but they don't.
Never got
It's
it.
like once they
Yeah.
get
Do
it-
you have movies for the blind or
I have-
Enter
I
the
have a lot.
Colossus?
I have a lot of that, and I have like DJ JS1. I did a lot of record covers.
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
no, I remember.
His
His were
Eastern
that's-
Conference Records brought
Yeah.
me a lot of business. Like High and Mighty and Mr. Eon and.
What's your favorite?
Some of my favorite
and
record covers
Milo.
of all
What's
time.
your favorite one
Milo.
that he's done? That you've done?
The favorite, like, there's one with KRS-One and Razel and DJ JS1. So they're all like on stage, and there's a train behind them, like graffiti train, and the whole thing is just super dope, illustrated. Like I really went in on that with the detail.
And what
I'm real
album
proud
was
of
that?
Essentials,
Okay.
DJ JS1 Essentials, and it's like a single, like with KRS-One and Razel. Shout
We-
out
we
to
could just-
Razel, what up?
We could take. I don't know what kind of disarray your living space is, but we could at some point roll over there with the cameras. You have these vinyl covers.
I do have some of them. Yeah, I actually have my sister's in storage. I need to get them, but I do have a lot of covers.
This
Well,
guy's a
you know-
vinyl.
I know
you-
yeah,
he
this
has
guy's a
lot of
vinyl
my-
guy. Yeah,
he has a
yeah.
lot of my record covers.
He knows it.
One of the first times we like
Actually hung out.
regrouped and hung
Yeah.
out, he brought a bunch of records like a fanboy.
Yo,
That's what he
100.
does.
He's
He
like,
loves
"Yo,
it.
Wait,
you want
wh-
to sign these?" No,
Yeah,
I
wh-
said I'll sign them. I was happy. I was proud. It's not like I get to sign shit all the time.
We
I'm not-
did that. The name of the place we did that
only-
at.
I'm a big deal only to some people, and then I'm nobody
To people
a
like
lot,
me,
but-
because these are some of my these are the albums that I was
What is
raised
your
on.
What is your favorite Brian Life album cover?
I mean, Enter the Colossus, then Movies for the Blind.
Oh yeah, movies.
And then Movies for the Blind. Is that Hush? Is that the one that you were saying was your favorite?
Art wise, I've seen some crazy stuff. That's my favorite album title of all time.
Oh, album title.
But that is a classic album.
Yeah, Movies for the Blind was
But-
based on
yeah.
They Live, a movie
Yeah.
from VHS movie back in the day.
Yep.
And it's super dope. Like that covers. I had to reorder these motherfuckers
Well, I would just
from
think-
Europe
Yeah,
and
Google-
pay like
So
a
movies
ridiculous
from
amount
Movies
of.
for the blind.
I would think that's
page.
like obviously like just music because it's like movies. You're hearing a whole
I don't
movie
know
through
if
a
it was
song.
a play on like blind MCs. Like
No. What
I
I'm
don't know
saying
what it
is
was.
like if you heard my whole album, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be able to see to hear
That's what
it.
it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Song-
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a song
yeah.
is a movie.
A song's
for
a
the
movie
blind.
for the blind.
Yep.
That's why I love the
You
You know what I mean?
Dope.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's. But you never thought. You never.
Yeah.
You must have thought of it. Come on, man.
Fucking.
I made-
Yo, this is his favorite
made that
album
shit.
title because it's movies.
I'm
for
glad
the
you're
blind.
realizing it right now.
Yeah.
No,
This
I
is
how
did.
The
This is
fans
old to
outdo
me,
the
like,
artists.
This is the thing is like back then I did a lot of record covers and I illustrated in Photoshop and I was really advanced for that time because I'm toot my own horn, but like a lot of people didn't have iPads and pens.
You're really advanced for this time as well.
Thanks. Man.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
you-
but these are some of
But back
the
then,
greatest
people weren't
album
doing
covers
illustrations
ever
like
made.
that.
You did Smut Peddlers too?
Yeah, and Smut Peddlers.
What was the name of
That's
that
dope.
album?
That I thought it
Did
was
you do-
just
I don't.
Smut
Did you do
Peddlers.
Porn Theater Ushers?
No, I never did any
Okay.
of that stuff.
Oh, sorry, I get porn and smut
Yeah.
Hold
mixed
on,
up.
hold on.
But yeah, I remember
Peddlers
Smut
is a dope
Peddlers.
album.
Did you do
Oh, super fire.
Heavy Metal Kings?
Yeah, and so that
That's
was
a
for-
classic. Right
Oh,
there.
you did Heavy Metal King?
I did a single for them. So
Jedi Mind
Mind
Tricks,
Tricks. So they wanted me to do the full album cover, and then it was taking a long time. And actually, I was sending them like 80% done stuff, and they're like, "We love that. That's what we'll use." And I was like, "No, I'm not done."
Right.
It's like, slow down. That ain't done yet.
Breaks.
And that's a low quality JPEG. You need to wait. And he was like,
Thank
"Yo,
God there's
man,
some
like,
quality
he's like,
control.
You're kind of perfecting it too much. We love how this looks." And he was right in some ways. Like I could keep going and like detail things. But
you also did Virtuosos.
so it ended up being a single.
Did you do Virtuoso's album cover?
Oh yeah, I did a lot of Virtuoso stuff. Was
we're-
a Boston MC.
Answer this shit for me. One of my favorite albums of all time, which is by Virtuoso, who is a Boston MC,
Yeah.
was World War One. Now it was originally
World
War One, and then it came out as World War One, because World War Two came out. His next album.
I don't know.
But the first one is Word War, and the second one was World War Two.
that's not
Explain this shit to me.
I don't know that. Like I didn't. Write
But you wrote the word.
titles.
You wrote the title though, right? Word
Well,
War.
like they would ask me to write whatever it was called.
He's a
So I
hired
don't
gun.
know why they.
that is too
switched
funny.
it up.
They just.
You never asked.
Maybe I made a typo. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what
well,
I want to know.
Nah,
Was
I
it a
didn't
typo?
make a typo. I have made them though.
I kind of want to know, like,
Sucks.
do you have any like cool stories about when you presented the album covers to these artists or anything like that? Anything like?
Yeah, and a note on. Oh, I was gonna say a note on that Virtuoso album.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking like the cover art is amazing,
Yeah.
but the album is fucking fire. I think
Yeah,
that's one of
yeah.
the best underground
He's
hip hop albums of all time.
Hold on, let me come
The
in
other
with
one
that.
where he's like a medieval fucking
Yeah,
warrior.
the second
Evolution of the
like,
Torturer.
Yeah, that one's
That
sick.
that album.
What's
was
it
also
called
fun.
again?
Well, that's
Evolution of the
Evolution of
Torturer.
that's the one I'm saying was World War II. Evolution of the Torturer was the full title.
Yeah.
But the first album was
You're
World
getting
War
nerdy-
One.
You're getting too nerdy.
The one
on
you're
this,
talking
man.
I
about,
know.
the first one was
Well-
iconic. It was like the
Semantics.
pristine like grass patch with
Yes.
the kid and the world's
Yep.
like destroyed around it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was sick.
that shit's
Thanks,
fire.
It's dope that you remember that. Like,
We're gonna have to do
I
another
need to
signing
represent it.
session.
I don't put it on my website. Like, this is so weird about me is like I
It-
kept
it
moving and
pisses
kept
me off.
producing or developing with art and mediums that I would use. Like I got into 3D and I think just to be blunt, I got more and more advanced that I feel like my older stuff isn't really kind of representative of what I really evolved to and wanted to sort
Meanwhile,
of be known
that's like
as,
you're only
even
built
though
for
that
Cuban links.
People love that stuff and I love it too. But there's like not an amateur, but there's a look to it that I kind of
You
feel
want
I've
his old
grown
shit?
out of.
Buy his old album.
I just grew out of
Exactly.
it.
Well, now you buy the reissues from Europe.
But I
from
should
like,
make an archive and like definitely represent
Well,
it because I am proud of
the
it.
3D thing. It was I saw that on your website. You have you been to BrianLife.com?
Brian Life Art.
BrianLifeArt.com?
Art.
yeah,
It's
I've gone
amazing.
on it looking
Yo, I
for
didn't pay one
high
time
resolution.
for BrianLife.com. I didn't pay one time and I let it go for a minute. Somebody snatched it up and was trying to sell it to me for like 30 grand.
Oh,
and
what
shit.
assholes!
And now it's like 15 or 2,000 or 3. I'm like, I'm still not gonna pay somebody.
That's great. But I would go on there while working at Underground Hip Hop because we needed the full resolution photos
And go to that one girl.
Well, and then I end up masturbating to that one chick.
Yeah.
No, but we needed the high resolution photos of your album covers, and it's hard to fucking find any of them. So, when I met up with you, this was after knowing each other. Let me point this thing. When I met up with you, good sir, this was like after knowing you for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But we had never like really hung like a pair of nuts until I was like, meet me. We met at this place called the Pink Taco.
Teabag.
Do you know what a pink taco is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you? You dirty.
You've explained it to me that night.
That night.
You brought me there, man.
He probably explained it to you like over and over and over.
Right.
And over
So
and over.
a
And the more he
pink
drank,
taco.
the more he.
Yeah.
And in case he didn't, he's going to do it now.
Yeah,
too.
but so it's
There you go. There you go, everyone.
so it's like the roast beef lips, but when they're young and
Yeah,
supple and
no.
pink.
So this
you
is
know
what
I'm
it's
saying?
like to be friends with Van Stylez. You have to hear this
I have
shit.
a
like,
2-track mind. I have a 3-track mind. My mind goes
The way-
women,
Hey,
album covers, and then the actual albums.
Alright.
In that order. No, so for me, it's like, man, you were like, when I came to Massachusetts, going to Emerson College in 2001 from Michigan, you know, I was getting put on to like Mr. Liff, Kabir, Acrobatic. This was before Mr. Liff and Acro were even the Perceptionists. But like some of these album covers, while I was in college, those albums came out, or shortly there, before or thereafter. And like those shape my whole view of the city I've spent the rest of my life in since then.
Wow.
So it's like, to you, that just it was just a time period you spent.
No, I love it, man.
But
like,
for me, that's
I
why.
see that. I know what you're saying.
This is why I have to bring you to the Pink Taco on like a Thursday night, sit you
Get
down and be like,
signatures.
"Can we get these? Can we sign these bad boys
Yeah.
up?" And I got more.
It was
like
a
I
great
got the
era and period of hip hop in Boston.
Well,
and like
right.
just seeing
Monumental.
things, CDs and records and actual physical, like people would put the quality and they'd pay me to actually illustrate the art, and it was like, it wasn't just clip art or some photo that they bashed together or JPEG for an MP3 online streaming. It was like physical items that you would open the package, and it was great.
And
you know? So it was dope
you're
to
doing
see,
intricate art for some
like
of the
insides,
biggest
back.
underground hip hop
Yeah.
albums of all time.
It's more than that, though. Because if you were on a site recently, right? Hold on. You're talking about childhood stuff. This guy right here, G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah.
This guy right here, Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes.
Oh really?
Snake
Is
Eyes.
that why he's dressed like a G.I. Joe today in the camo
Snake
green?
Eyes is probably the most iconic character of everyone's childhood.
So to tell everyone,
And this guy right here.
I illustrated a lot of G.I. Joe characters for like the tour.
So you talk about your childhood.
Yeah,
you
what
talk
the
about
fuck?
you want to
Yeah, it was
really you want to up it.
crazy.
You want to level up on this shit. I mean,
Yeah.
Why is he? How many times I've hung out with him?
because you got, I don't know. You got to be on
30,
brownlife.art.com.
40, 50
That's how I-
times. Nothing.
that's how I
never
found
do I
about
get
it.
told about the G.I. Joe shit because he doesn't want to talk about anything related to children around me because he knows about my restraining order.
So there's no children here right now. What's how the hell did the G.I.
So
Joe thing
that-
happen, and how did you?
I did a B-boy game cover for PlayStation, right?
Yep. I
That
remember.
was amazing in itself.
Didn't you do Spider-Man 2 as well?
I did a
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man poster
Yeah,
for
Spider-Man
the big
fucking-
Comic-Con in San Diego.
Yeah.
But like,
How
these
do you
things
not have a real big Dookie chain on,
I
like
know,
the
right?
$80,000
Yeah.
version?
you titanium?
Like,
He loves
how
it.
are you not rich as fuck?
I'm just I'm a talented normal dude, man.
So
Like,
G.I. Joe.
so I fuck up sometimes. in
You're
my
not
life,
a normal
but
dude, though. You're
always course correcting. The G.I. Joe is like so I did a game cover for a breakdancing video game, and that was an honor to be able to do that. Crazy Legs was on the cover.
Yeah.
Sponsored by
It was a PlayStation game about breakdancing, right?
Yeah. So you would actually have moves, and you would learn
Yeah.
and battle each other and stuff. So that was dope, and then that got put out, and somehow it got seen by. Well, there are some details on who emailed who, and it's just a big long story of but somehow it got to Hasbro, to somebody who's working there, and they were like, "We love your work, but can you do like 2 of these a day, like realistic portraits of these actors, because it was going to be a movie."
The actors are Marlon Wayans, Channing Tatum, like the guys in the movie fucking G.I. Joe.
yeah.
Dennis Quaid, and yeah. So
Now I've never seen the movie G.I. Joe.
yeah. I mean, it's just a
But I, of course,
it's
grew
G.I.
up with
it's
G.I.
G.I.
Joes.
Joe.
Yeah.
right. So we grew up with these like toy packages. You'd buy the toy,
And they were the
you'd see
coolest
illustration.
fucking-
I always thought the illustrations
Coolest.
were dope. I was super inspired by them.
Finally,
as a
some
kid.
little
And the
dolls for
packages
men.
on those
So I
toys, yeah.
became the person who was actually illustrating that art for the toys. I even met the illustrator who used to do the
Oh,
ones
the
that we
old-
would see.
that's cool as shit.
And he was like honored to meet me, and it was like this really cool like respect. And
Wait,
I went to Hasbro.
Were
to-
G.I. Joes the first dolls for boys?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're like a fucking relic from another
that's what
time.
your mom told you later. After she was like, "Okay, we can give you the boy dolls now."
Yeah, the Brian Lifers.
But hold on. Now,
He had the little girl.
I gotta hear. I have to hear how the fuck you
Stop
got the
playing
Snake
with
Eyes.
So like they asked me, can I illustrate 2 to 3 of them per week, like full like gear and like realism and all the weapons and the clothing, and this is all prior to the movie.
And your
coming
shit's
out.
super realistic too.
Yeah,
Like people,
so-
if people aren't familiar with your art is very hyper realistic.
Yeah, and so I was getting photos of these actors in front of their trailer.
So time out.
and They
So
just got the costume, and I'd be like, all right, I have to illustrate this in a pose, and it was like
So you
very
get
raw
a picture of fucking Channing Tatum dressed as Duke. All of a sudden, you're like, are you just flipping out in your
Yeah,
house when you get
dude.
that? You're like just jumping
I
around
was
like you're like
loving it, man. I was getting that weed delivered
yeah, you
to
gotta
me.
be fucking
I was blazing
going
blunts.
crazy. Like
I was posing like with fake guns, like a broom, and I'd be like, I'm a ninja now, and and I would act like
Marlon
Storm
Wayans.
Shadow.
Yeah, you gotta be dude.
Yeah, and it was real fun because like I was getting big
so
checks
awesome.
coming. They were sending me checks, and I was getting that. So I said, well, I mean, I don't care. I'll talk about it. But I was like, I want $4,000 a pop, like each illustration. And they were like, that's too much. But they want ownership of everything, so you can't make any royalties, nothing. So I was like, no, I want $4,000 a pop. They were like, you could do 2 a week. I was like, yep. Excuse me. I did 2 a week, and my mother and sister came to visit me during that week in New York, which is the worst timing. I'm like, I can't entertain you. You're just going to have to get on the train and go places. I
Right.
got to get this done. And they were real supportive, and I did it. And so then I got that amount of money, and I did like 20 to 30 of them in 1 year. And I was just producing, delivering, blazing.
What was your favorite one?
Probably like there's 2 to 3 Channing Tatum ones, but there's one of them that I like because of his guns and like, just everything, like his ammo. His ammo was like, I was like 3D modeling a lot of the stuff, and then I would like render it flat, and then I'd put it into Photoshop and composite it. But I was sort of like learning 3D while I was getting paid and just pushing my skills and upping my level of skills, taking a little bit too long or making excuses. Oh yeah, Monday, whatever, but I was grinding out to learn and develop while I was doing the stuff. So I was kind of having fun, but learning new tools. Had the money to get like a drawing tablet where I draw right on the screen, a Cintiq, and like I used to never do that, and just upping my game, and like it was dope. Like, so I don't know, like I don't really have a favorite, but Storm Shadow was the White Ninja. He was one of, Snake
Storm
Eyes-
Shadow. You know the White
I
Ninja
mean,
from G.I. Joe. You ever heard of it?
I mean,
Snake Eyes was Snake
everyone
Eyes
knows.
was a big honor, but like I
So
did
was the
all
Storm
the main
Shadow.
characters. But Snake Eyes actually
Yeah.
was probably one of the best.
Because it's
that I
fucking
like.
Snake Eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
as you're a kid, that's everyone's favorite
Super-
G.I. Joe, right?
right. Do you get asked to go to these conventions and like
I
sign
didn't
things
go,
for super
but, like,
fans?
I didn't do that, but like no, there are some groups and like G.I. Joe fans, and like,
I'm surprised
they
you
would
don't do that.
ask me to.
You should do that.
But they
Yeah,
own
it's fun.
everything. So they own everything though. Like, so I can't, like some people will be like, can I get a poster of this? I love Snake Eyes, can you sign it in print? I'm like, I can't, because it's all their IP. So I would like go to Canal Street in New York, and walk
with your
in.
bootleg.
No, I'd walk in and I'd see Snake Eyes like with a plastic
Oh, everywhere
knife
down there
and
back
like
in the day.
backpacks and like bed sheets with my art thrown all around.
Oh,
and I
shit.
got the 4,000 for the one piece, but they put it on everything. They
Right.
monopolize off it. So the more you see that, the more you're like, wow, this is a huge beast. And like, it might sound like a lot of money, but you're not getting much because they just own it all and they pump it out and put it on everything.
No,
they
that's
can,
sounding like
which
crumbs
is smart of them
in
but-
comparison. For what it was,
Right.
that sounds like
I
nothing.
mean, there was toys, there was backpacks.
I remember
like,
being a little kid down on Canal Street and seeing Snake Eyes figures.
yeah.
Yeah, on everything. So that's.
I mean, for another
Like-
example, like
another moment.
working in like at Ecko Unlimited, another example of like realizing that you have value and you're just kind of a bitch for them, and you're sort of just giving them art that they make massive millions off of, right? I had, Basquiat, right? The artist Basquiat.
I've heard of the man.
We've heard of him, Storm Shadow, the regulars.
Yeah, so Basquiat, so they
the
would
color green.
They would come they would come with like themes, and they would try to like reinvent like this new fall season, winter season. They're running out of ideas, so they're like, we need to, and they would steal a lot. Like, we're gonna do a Japanese theme, and like a lot of things they do is like kind of they'll literally like study a whole artist's aesthetic and take it and throw their logos, and like it's kind of fucked up, right? So Basquiat, they're like, we want to do a bunch of like Basquiat style painting, like splashes and brush strokes and little things that he does, but instead put our logos and our symbols, and we're gonna use,
which he would have fucking hated, by the way.
And we're gonna use like lime greens and purples and summer colors, like just modern colors, but with his look. So I'm like, okay, so like you just do it, and like they like, we want 8 t-shirts, 8 graphic designs for these t-shirts within 1 week, so I'm like, well, 5 days, whatever. I busted out 8 of them. A few months later, I walked through this hallway where they have displays of like mannequins and figures. All of my artwork put onto lines of clothing, but in new ways, rearranged, embroidered down sleeves, on brims of hats, on the inside of like the lining of a fucking whole jumpsuit. And I'm like, yo, that was that Basquiat t-shirts, 8 t-shirts I did. Nope, they turned it into a full line for like spring. And they put it on everything, and they just kind of like reuse the elements. And I was just walking, looking at all these like, nice clothing and all this embroidery, and I was like, I drew that. That's like my art. Like, but it was only 1 week of salary that now they're gonna make mass production of. And I was like, I got to get out of here.
But what can you do?
I just realized I want to leave, and like I'm the commodity. Like, I got that juice. I want to make the mass like money off of that, not be just a underling for them. And I was
so when you saw that, that was when you decided you wanted to leave.
So yeah, I kind of like broke off. Yeah, I didn't even give him 2 weeks. That was one of my main triggers. Sorry.
Can I ask you? No, because that's super interesting. Like being in that space, I'd imagine, like creating art, and then like walking in somewhere and seeing someone else take your creation and flip it for like money that they didn't pay you for. But not only that, on the other end of that, I mean, it must make you so fucking proud. Yeah. And know like that, like, holy shit, my shit is so good that like the world will wear this.
You were in this position to be enviable to like every other artist.
Smart. They own it. They know how to utilize it in multiple ways. So they taught me that like you don't always.
But it's multiple clothing brands that have done this. It's multiple clothing brands that have taken Brian Life art and like just fucking.
And I understand that they're bending you over the fucking table here on this. But
that's crazy.
At the same time, like you were in a position, you left a position that like every other underling artist would dream. You were like in the NFL or the NBA.
I was like, why don't they fly me? Because I do graffiti. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, well, we will.
Life is my tag, and like I can paint like like huge graffiti murals. And they actually did pay for me. Ecko had like a Ecko TV. It was like an internet podcast video show, whatever, right? Little episodes. And they paid for me to go to Boston to do like a b-boy event, a breakdancing event. And there was like footage for their show there. And they paid me to paint a mural and provided all the paint. And I'm like, I should be doing this all the time. Like, they should be flying me all around the world.
You need a manager.
You're painting in one of LOG's videos, aren't you? Painting a mural in one of them? It's the party across from where Merck's house was. Yeah. You're over there.
No, I think, it was...
Watch out.
I was helping with Percy Fortini. Like, he was painting...
That big iguana, right?
Oh, I thought it was more like a portrait of... Oh, man, Guru, right? No?
I don't know. I forget. There was a lot of stuff going on over there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you are right. He is a graffiti artist. I mean,
So I was like, why don't you fly me? Like, I didn't say it, but I felt I had more potential for the company, for any company to. If I was under their wing, why not like utilize my skills and put me out there?
This is why artists like you. You need a publicist and you need a manager because you're so busy focusing on the art. Yeah, publicist.
Publicist.
A publicist. You need a publicist. Say that 50 times for me now. But yeah, like you need somebody who's out there fighting on your behalf, getting you these gigs. Yeah. But of course, like you're so busy being an artist.
Like
Well,
I manage and do everything on my own.
What's
and, like,
crazy
all
though
my
is too
business,
is
but-
you're talking about Ecko would fly you out once to do a TV show and do like live art, I'd assume, like live graffiti or something like that. Now that's just a huge fucking business. Now you can't go and have like a nice dinner in Brooklyn without like some they're doing that live in the fucking background or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's so commercialized now, like graffiti art, doing it live, painting and stuff.
Yep.
And you were doing it that like you're one of the best at that.
Thank you.
Well, they have a whole-
That's what I'm saying. Like anyone now would fly you out to paint.
And
Yeah,
they have the
it's-
summits now that in
the
like Miami and
experience, yeah.
Vegas that they didn't used to have.
That
What was the one where they did
Art
that?
Basel.
Yeah, and they did that whole building. But that was just on the side.
I mean,
Those
there's
all the
always-
different graffiti artists who got together to do the skyscraper.
I've seen him.
I mean,
Did you
there's
see that?
so
He's
many
been part of teams that
murals.
painted whole buildings in Quincy and shit like that. And they painted whole buildings in Miami and Boston.
If
Yeah.
somebody watching this wants to make money, I would pitch it to Brian Life to be his publicist or manager. I mean, Tash, I'm surprised you haven't already done so.
Yeah, and
Like you're a business-minded individual. We're leaving money all over the goddamn table here.
I didn't know that he
That he doesn't have any representation. He has no, and he's a lawyer.
Represent.
Yeah, I don't know. I
So-
mean, we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah,
I don't want to put the guy
we'll
in a position. You know what I mean?
I want to put him in a position.
Pause.
Yeah, pause.
Pause.
Oh, dang.
Pause. So, is there any? What's your favorite piece of art you created? There's got to be something that you love.
Shit,
Like
It was the woman.
it's the woman, right?
It's the Aqua Girl.
But
then there's like
you
a
work in
more
other
recent-
you work in like other like mediums,
So
right?
I work
yeah.
in 3D. So like there's a newer one that's pinned at the top of my IG is Queen Lyrica, and she's more of like a 3D model, like everything sculpted in the computer, all of her hair, her pores in her skin, the wrinkles in her lips, the eyelashes. Every single eyelash is literally a 3D like lash, and then I pose it all, her eyebrows, the painting, the clothing, all the accessories. And that was fully rendered in 3D, like meaning I didn't go into Photoshop and fake stuff or airbrush or do any edits.
Right, like you draw
It's
it
just-
by
I just-
hand first. Is that correct?
Well, like
or no?
if I was drawing with flat 2D, I would be drawing by hand. But if I was sculpting in 3D,
Yeah.
you sculpt by hand, and it's
Hold
like
time out.
build
I
up
just
things.
realized what the fuck you're talking about. You're putting a like Oculus on,
no,
it's-
not VR.
but
Like
you're
I'm not in that, but I'm looking at the monitor.
You have hands?
And I just have like a pen, and I move around. Just picture like a ball in space.
Okay.
It's like a clay ball in space, and you can pull things out or push things in. So if I want to pull out 2 ears,
Pause.
you pull out the 2 ears, you elongate it for the chin, and then you start to you zoom
but you
in.
don't do it with your actual hand. You're doing
No,
it
not
with
with
the
my hands,
yeah.
with the pen. So
pen.
it's a pen, and you basically just like you're pushing the pen to indent, or you're key commanding to pull out stuff to make those breastises that you like.
Yeah, you're
all
pulling
that.
things
Mouths on
out
them.
and you're pushing things in with,
And then
with
like
a pen.
so you zoom in,
but not a
close.
pen 15.
Nah.
You think he's
Whatever
gonna
the
pass
fuck
this
is.
off?
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm like trying to compute and like.
You're trying to actually have like a regular conversation,
Yeah,
and,
man.
and you're
What
like,
the fuck? Boomerang, monkey wrench over here. He's like, here's another monkey.
you know this guy. You met
So
this guy,
like,
Pink
yeah,
Taco.
basically it's just 3D modeling, like Finding Nemo or Shrek or. Come on, man.
That'd be
It's
cool as shit
fucking
though.
2000
Imagine if you could like put gloves on, like Michael Jackson gloves on, and you could like actually be in an
Like a child.
Oculus. Be like in an Oculus
Yeah,
though,
I
and like
mean,
fucking like
So I
moving
do
and shit.
that in Oculus now. I'm starting to work with it. So you have the 2 Oculus hand things, and you're basically sculpting in 3D. So yes, I'm starting to do that now, but the software is not that great. Like it's clay, and it's like you could zoom in, which is amazing. So your sculpture, you could bring it down this small, or you could go like this, and it'll scale up massive, and it feels like you're in front of the big thing. So
But you actually have to sculpt this by hand.
yeah, like
well,
basically with the
first.
pen.
Actually, in this bag right here, we have two things of Play-Doh.
it's digital
And
sculpture.
if you and Van go head to head right now, who's gonna win?
My
I
my
can- I
dildo
can
is going to be immaculate.
You gotta sculpt Hush.
Okay.
Still be a
Alright?
dildo.
No, there's nothing in there.
That'd be fun.
That way, actually, I wish I
That'd be
did. I wish I
hilarious.
did have Play-Doh now
If we could
because
forward it, like show it like in high speed, and like
yeah, I
shit
mean,
would be hilarious.
you can do it how I mean.
But like it reminds me. I did a little clay. The stop motion.
Yeah.
Which like
California
the
raisins.
little monkey, like, and he just has a ball, and it's just moves to him, and then he pushes it away. But I like worked as an intern at an animation studio in Boston, and I didn't know much about 3D or animation, but they're like, here, we got this digital camera because it was kind of new back then. And we got the software that if you just take a shot every movement, like here's some clay. It's like it was a whole kit, basically the software and the clay, and you just try to do it. I don't know, for like kids or something. But I was like, in one afternoon, I'm like, okay, and I start making this little fucking dope like character.
I'm so envious of these guys.
know.
Like the way they can just like, like these guys grab anything. Like it's a bag of rubber bands. They're like, all right, fuck it, we're gonna make rubber band sculptures. Like, oh, it's a bag of toothpicks. Like, okay, fuck it, we're making houses. Like,
I mean, you're like basically God.
No.
You're creating things.
It's more like magic.
Exist.
He's like David
like
Copperfield.
magician.
He's like David Copperfield.
I mean, it's
but cool.
It's definitely like.
Well, concept of product,
It's
right?
an honor. I'm lucky, but I'm not lucky. Like I had to work at it back when I used to look at those drawings.
No
of
one's
my
saying
father.
it's not
it
that.
Sucked. I wasn't good. My tags when I first started graffiti were whack. Like they were sucky.
His whack and
everything
his
sucked.
suck is like
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
fucking. It's like I sucked, and it's like.
And then you get better and better, and
Yeah.
then you're like,
But your starting point is
No,
like
but-
I'm not even if we drew right now and I had to face the guy that you were like the first time you picked up a pencil or whatever,
Right.
like I'm losing.
Him in his 40s versus you
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
single digits. A
Yeah.
9-year-old Brian Light.
Is you're winning.
There's a difference, yeah. I guess
You
so,
have an
know.
innate talent, but you also love this.
It's not even that.
do
It's like the
love it.
creative mind of like seeing like seeing like fucking everything. I can like take any material. Like that's when I started like that kind of shit. Like with the Craig thing up there,
Yeah.
it's like that's it, like
So-
one of y'all, like one of the OBS guys was kind of pointing some shit out to me is how I kind of like started to do that abstract thing and stuff like that to make art like where you
Make
don't see it.
something out of
Where like,
nothing,
with the point like oh you see this and this and this and you're like oh, all right I see that and you're like oh okay well oh take that and multiply that time and you're like there you go you start just
Yeah,
doing
you
that.
assemble and you make.
But
a
you guys
thing,
see
like
that
a
thing.
flow, like a
I don't
style.
see that. You guys
Yeah,
can
but
like
you see it with that, like. The
yeah,
way
but you see it with
those are
everything in this fucking
paint
room.
chips, but the way you place them made up art in its own self. Like you kind of like orchestrated the way it would be.
Absolutely. But
paused
you
in
guys do
times.
that. But I had to like take a guy like you
But that's
to
all
show
we're
me.
doing too. Like
Yeah.
artists are basically just taking lines and shapes and placing them in a way to then create something. But they're just little movements of things, and then you just arranging them, and then it becomes this thing, like even an illusion of something, and then you're like, yo,
It's
that's
almost
crazy.
like in hip hop too. Like some of the
Yeah,
guys
train- you got
that
train sound effects.
that's hip hop, man.
Yep,
It's
hip-hop,
it's
all.
fucking it's like in hip hop too. With like some of the guys like they can fuck up in their bars and they don't care. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
artists are in that way too. Like not that he fucks up, but I'm sure in his mind he
No, I
does.
do sometimes.
But like
course.
art is like you can't be scared to draw the shitty thing because the shitty thing might be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
like
the loose
it-
stuff is sometimes.
But when you
better.
don't have confidence of that, like it's really hard to start. Like, oh, we just fucking. And then when you know guys that can do shit like you can do, or he can do, and shit, you're like, yeah, fuck that. Look at the room we're sitting in. Like, come on, dude. I'm not trying to fucking.
But you're also an artist through and through because you make beats, you break dance,
Yeah.
Not
you
really.
do
I don't
graffiti.
break dance. I can dance.
Dude,
but I don't
dude,
break dance.
he's fucking
Yeah,
lying. He's lying.
I know. I got
This-
video of you.
This motherfucker right here,
Yeah, what are you talking
Hold on.
about? I've Instagrammed you dancing plenty of times.
dude.
Like-
Great Brian life story,
I
right?
can't b-boy down on the ground though, but I can top rock and
You can do your wiggle
stuff.
thing, top
I can do
rock, if
some
that's what they
cool
call
stuff.
Back in the fucking day, this is about me 5 years ago, 4 years
Cool
ago.
stuff.
Back when I drank and shit.
You do crazy
Wow,
ass
wow.
shit. We go
Well,
to
him
the
and
dance floor.
his dancing and being crazy.
We
right?
go
Humble,
there,
humble,
we go
humble.
there, and we go there with the goal of meeting women. And
I
next thing I know,
definitely
this
go-
motherfucker's on the,
So I-
shaking
circle,
around.
like-
Right, there's a circle around him,
I go to this bar
and there's some
circle.
women.
in
Sure.
Weymouth, right? I go in there. It's getting late at night. I go in there. I walk in. Brian Life's in
yeah, I
there.
remember that.
Me and Brian are wearing the same shirt.
Yeah.
So we got a picture. We're both wearing a Sen shirt. We're wearing the same shirt, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm feeling
Remember
nice.
that.
I'm drinking. I got my girlfriend with me. Brian's fucking having a good time. I'm like, I'm start buying him beers. I mean, we're there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. No,
Non-alcoholic beer.
time out. Let me finish. So this motherfucker,
Yeah,
right?
the
No,
O'Toole.
time out. So this dude, I don't realize this. This dude's dancing like a crazy person with every woman in there. Comes back, fucking dancing, goes back out. I'm assuming
Does a little spin.
I'm assuming he's drinking because he's dancing like
Right.
he's drinking.
Yeah.
I probably bought him 6 fucking beers. And then the fucking lights come on. I'm like, yo, you want to take a shot at the end of the night? That was a fun night. He's like, oh, I don't drink. What the fuck have I been buying you all night? Oh, duels. I bought you fucking 6 duels?
Oh,
Like, you motherfucker. Like,
Nah, they're as
But
expensive
those-
as a real
but
beer.
those-
yeah, they are.
Those do at
was a good
0.05% alcohol for a non-drinker such as yourself. That 0.05, it does add up
That was
after
a
a
good
few
night.
beers.
It was a good
that.
night. It was a good
Yeah,
night. But this guy is
treated me
acting
right.
so wild. I'm assuming
Yeah.
he's drunk.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy has to be drinking. The way he dances, he's fucking spinning on the ground and shit, up jumping, fucking doing the kid and play and shit.
No,
I'm like,
he's peaked.
yeah, this guy gotta be fucking
That's the
drunk.
old 90s. I used to have a group, like a hip hop group.
He's
so
a real
I
b-boy.
learned a lot of like
a real b-boy. He does
real
like the
dance moves.
yeah.
Back then.
But
You still do
have
them
you-
now,
have
Brian.
you- have you-
Yeah, I guess. I do,
Have you
yeah.
ever heard of peacocking? It's what
kind
they
of.
do in the wild. They put their plumes out so they can attract the
Yeah.
other gender.
I'm really just
That's
having
what
a
he's
good
out there
time,
doing.
man. I'm a natural. No, I was just having a good time. But it is a way of luring in, to be like to cause.
You like the word luring, don't
Tension.
you?
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
like,
he
tell
does.
me
I
more.
seen Van's ears perk up when he heard luring.
Here's my one. I painted once,
Okay.
and this is my one story.
I'm like, okay.
There we go.
I
He's never
think-
told you this?
Do we know the mission? Do we know the Mission Bar at the bottom of Mission Hill?
Yeah, I think I know that.
It was that one, or the Irish bar right next to it, or down the street. But anyway, I go in there with this girl that I had met at, I think, Fresh Produce or one of those nights at the Good Life back in the day, and she was a graffiti artist. And whatever, I like pissed her off at some point during the night, and she goes into the bathroom, and I guess there's a long line for the bathroom. She comes out, and then management snags me, and they're like, "Your girl just." Like, we saw you making out with this girl.
Bombed up the bathroom.
Exactly. With like, fuck me or whatever she was pissed about.
Damn.
And
Probably your boyfriend.
they kept my license, my ID. They already had it because I've been buying drinks. So they made me come back, and this is my great painting
Clean it
story,
or something?
and repaint the bathroom. So
so
I use
lame, bro.
a spray paint remover all over the bathroom. And
That's
then
worse.
Oh,
The syrup and
they call me they call me from the bar
acid burning.
they call me from the bar the next
the
day.
smell.
Meanwhile, Rhetoric's out there.
probably
Rhetoric's out there
ruined
playing.
everything.
Right. It's just it's all everything you did is all drips. I had to come and repaint that
It's
motherfucker.
worse than the graffiti. Yeah.
And yeah, Rhetoric
stuff's
from
like a
Reto
edit.
from Evil Dead was out there playing pool, laughing as I'm repainting.
Because he probably went back in.
bathroom for
He
the
probably
second
went back
time.
in after you and fucking
Reto-
tagged
yeah,
it.
yeah. What am I saying? Yeah, he
Reto's
probably
doing
redid it.
graffiti right now. A lot.
He's probably
Oh
I
yeah,
see
I
him
saw
out there.
his graffiti
Lately,
recently.
he's been doing a lot of graffiti.
Oh yeah, I loved he's getting
Reto?
back to it. But yeah,
So
what we're saying is you're like what do they call those young geniuses, the savants?
oh, that's cool, man.
Those-
Thank
those-
you, man. Wow, I really do appreciate that.
You need to
It's
remember
a really
that.
humble and a really I don't
I-
forget it. Like people think like I'm not like I know what I'm capable of, but I can't. It's
Well,
kind of
if-
ugly when you know what I mean.
I'd be
So
walking
but
around
I'm
everywhere.
very proud of myself. I'm very happy about, and I'm fortunate, and I'm very like it's hard paid dues, and I did it, and I do what I do because I work hard at it. I obsess about what I do, and I go in and I keep challenging myself. So I am proud of that. But at the same time, sometimes I'm like, damn, like I'm also not really. I haven't made it, quote unquote. A lot of the world don't know who I am and what I'm capable of. Where I see other people, it's not really I'm being jealous, but I
But a
am
lot of the
little bit
world's
like,
seen your work, though.
but I'm also kind of like,
Yeah,
damn, isn't
they-
it
A lot
my-
of the world's
isn't it my
seen your
time?
work.
They've
But-
seen your work. They've worn your work. The only thing you haven't
I
done
must
is
have
a
did
good job
something
of
wrong,
promoting
though.
yourself. Yes, you
Yeah.
fucking left the job at G.I.
Yeah.
Joe. That was your first misstep.
Yeah.
You left Ecko. You're feeling like you're being mistreated.
Publicist.
Well,
For my album.
You're being
listen,
mistreated, but your
ready?
artwork is all over the world. People are wearing it.
My
You want to hear the best one? The best one. So Slane's
Yo,
video.
Hush, album.
You-
Yo, check on my album.
You know Slane's "Do What You Love" video.
No.
Okay, Slane has a video "Do What You Love." Slane's sober,
that video.
and let me tell. I'm gonna attest to your point.
Is
To
it the
your
so-
to
is
your
it the
point.
sober video?
So
the
yeah,
recovering?
so it's the cover video. Like this, everyone's
Yeah,
saying.
I know it.
So
I
it's a
know it.
video for the people that might not know. It's a video Slane has, and as like people pull up a piece of paper with like how long they've been clean for.
Yeah.
14 days, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. It's a really powerful video. Actually, it's a really
No,
it's
no,
a
I
really
remember
good powerful.
it
It's a
now that you're
powerful good.
mentioning it.
The song's good and the video is really good, really well put together.
Yes.
Shout out to Slane.
Shouts to
And so, but the thing is, Slane, obviously everyone knows Slane's history with like, substances and like fucking hard drugs. And there's an epidemic in Massachusetts, especially then at the time. We had just lost Craig. He just died. And heroin was huge and fentanyl was getting big. So that was the whole thing. And the song was about, I probably knew about, I'd say, unfortunately, about 20 people in that video. It was about 70 people in the video. I probably knew about 20 of them. And a lot of them are passed now, and it's all heroin and all, opiates involved. So I'm watching the video, and one of the guys that pops up is Brian Life. And it says, like, 4 years and 3 months. Now you got to mind you.
No, I know what
Time
you're
out. Let me tell. So I met Brian. I knew who Brian was, but I met Brian at Craig's funeral. Craig passed away 9 years ago on Christmas due to heroin. So I met Brian at Craig's funeral. So when I saw that video, I assumed Brian had run the streets with Craig. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? So I assumed.
Yeah, you asked.
And then I go up to him, I go, congratulations. He's like, what? I'm like, oh man, like 4 years clean. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, of opiates. That's awesome. He's like, oh, I've never done opiates.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you're in that video.
Never
like,
done an
and he's like,
in his life.
and he goes, like, yeah, I've never done opiates.
them.
And I go, you're in that video.
Not like hardcore.
And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, that video's all people like on heroin and shit. He's like, oh my God. I was
kind of like, damn, I didn't know people probably think I'm a heroin addict.
The first time I found
sober
out
off of weed,
yeah,
sober off of
the first
marijuana.
time I ever heard of
he said-
Marijuana's
yeah.
Anonymous
Yeah,
was from you.
And meanwhile, I'm smoking like
Yeah,
2 joints at the same time,
Right.
and he's like, "I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm buying the kid O'Doul's. Like, what the fuck is
Right.
going on?"
Well, this is what's amazing about being here right now with the pot heads and the Chris
know.
Tash podcast.
It's nice.
And here you are. You actually
Weed,
went through a program.
incense.
You still do Zoom meetings online.
Not really like much now, but no, I'm 8 years sober off of weed.
And congratulations.
So,
I mean, weed's
it
not for
did,
everybody,
yeah,
man.
I had to,
but it's called.
but I'm able to be around.
But what's it called? Marijuana Smokers Anonymous,
No,
or
just
what?
Marijuana's Anonymous.
Okay.
Like, it's funny, right? I
Yeah,
laughed at
no.
it first, and I was
I'm
like,
no,
that's kind of
homie,
corny.
I'm not even laughing. I think
No,
it's
but
funny.
I thought it was funny, and I was kind of embarrassed. I'm like, I'm not
It can
gonna
be
go to that.
both.
But you could be hooked on anything, and like it can take you places. So at that time, like, yeah, definitely, I was like way strung out. Didn't have making no money. I was also popping Adderall.
He spent all the money on the fucking bike guys, fucking with
Yeah.
the nice fucking
And
bud that would show up at his
definitely
house and shit.
8 years
Right.
ago, I
You're
was-
getting delivery like before you quit. You were
I was
sitting
the
back
highest strains, like.
on your
And
high
then I
horse.
came to Boston and like was getting kind of swaggy weed, or is that what it?
Yeah, it
swaggy
was,
weed,
yeah.
and it was like wasn't the greatest, and yeah, but I was kind of like going downhill because I have a real addictive personality, like real strong when I get into something. That's why I never got into coke or heroin or anything. Even OCs, like I tried like once or twice, and I was like, nah, that shit. I could see why people get hooked, and I was like, So, and if I did coke, I'd be like, yeah, I'll paint your mural in 3 hours. Like,
yeah,
one day.
And also, you
stay
already-
up 4 days in a row. and
You
get it
already talk a lot. Like you on coke
Yeah.
might be a little much.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, you too, man.
Hey,
You too, buddy.
man! But you can actually. But the difference is you can actually.
fucking trying to
You can
say
actually
it.
see me on coke talking fast.
Yeah.
I'm imagining you.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that would
Like he's very talkative. It's hard to get a word in edgewise
like
if you're
I'm
on the
kinda
phone with this
calm
motherfucker.
today. But,
Yeah, you're calm
maybe I
today,
should
but
pop some mushrooms.
you're calm
I'll do
today, but you
mushrooms.
could
I do
still do the
mushrooms
whole
once in a
interview
while.
yourself.
So I'm not
Questions and
straight edge.
answers.
I've always grown up like smoking weed, drinking all my life, like young Irish kid in Dorchester. My family owned 2 bars. So
you obviously don't drink anymore, right?
no more. Yeah. So like I gave
Same
it a
thing,
bad,
8 years,
Gave it
or-
a bad name. So like 15 years.
15 years, okay.
More like 15 to 17.
So you quit the alcohol first, and then
So
it was
I quit
the weed.
liquor, and then I got heavy into the weed, and then like it just kind of took me to a point where I was like literally like buying like $5 worth of weed from like a
yeah.
young 20-year-old kid, and he's like passing me a crumb, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like you
great,
gotta-
I'm gonna smoke this in one hit. And then be fiending for more, so it was like kind of just I couldn't keep up with
Were you like
what
itching
I needed.
and shit?
Oh, I was
I
fucked
need
up.
to-
Like you get nightmares, you
I
can't
smoke.
sleep.
I smoke buds,
You
Joe.
sweat and like you go through withdrawal.
Ask
so
ask
I had to
Tash.
go through
Ask Tash
withdrawal.
what's the most he smoked in one day before.
I can't. I've seen videos of you intense, like fucking smoking some automated crazy shit.
I think you told me
know
25
how
joints.
many.
Oh,
man.
that's not the most I've ever smoked in a day, but like that's like I can smoke anywhere from in between 5 to 20 joints. But today I smoked I think a half a joint because I've been busy. So
Cool.
you know, I mean it's like
But Snoop Dogg's still
Yeah, I
alive,
used to
so there's
smoke,
hope
like,
for you
4
yet.
blunts a day, like 3 to 4, like fat blunts, not like skinny little things, like real Philly. I mean, real Dutches.
You like
And
them
at-
girthy, right?
Yeah,
I like
like,
to bring
yo,
up girthy.
why-
every
why-
interview.
why
every
do you
interview.
fucking falling for this? Why are you
like
letting
a
this guy
thick-
do this? to
How
you?
thick?
Like a bic.
Like big thick,
big-
not like a
big
baby
lighter.
arm, like
Don't
a
look
baby
at
arm
me.
thickness.
Big lighter
Don't look at
thick.
me.
But like to the head, so like I'd smoke half and be like, yeah, I'm only gonna smoke half, and then it would get a little past the half part. I'm like, well, I don't want to waste that, and then I'm like, oh, it's too small for a joint. For a roach, I might as well smoke it down to my fingernails. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just kind of like would be like that, where that I couldn't just head a little bit.
Wait, this reminded me.
Moderation doesn't.
Can I
work.
point at you?
Sure.
You sure are.
Double fisted.
Double fisting you
Double
right
pointing
now.
it.
What's up?
We go out and no weed for Brian.
Yeah.
But then suddenly
Mushroom King.
Mushroom King right here.
I love mushrooms.
He doesn't smoke, he
but I was
doesn't drink,
sober
but
for like 6 years.
he's a
and
little
7
shroomer.
years, and then I just a year ago tried some shrooms here and there, a little microdosing, and then like sometimes I go a little bit too far. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I
Microdosing
like
is
to just
good.
microdose. It just
Microdosing
kind of
is
gives
good.
me a little peak. It's a little bit like, and I've tested it out to where I'm like, am I hooked on this now? Am I relying on this? So I'd make myself pace out for like a week and be like, okay, I'm good.
You're
I don't
really
have to
microdosing.
have it. But
He's
but
doing a
it's
little-
something you got to be careful with too. Like anything you grab to bring you to another state,
Right.
is
And
maybe an
also
escape,
just
you know?
dangerous.
This guy comes across some mushrooms and he's like, "Oh, microdosing." He's asking me about how to do it and whatnot, of course. And I explained to him
I
how to
just
do
needed
it.
to know.
I explained to him how to do it, and then like the next day, I'm like, "So how'd it go?" He's like, "Oh, I ate all those."
I know that's.
I'm like, and that's not how
I
you.
got him some stuff recently, and he ate the whole.
That's not how you. That's not how you do
Well,
that.
Bro.
in my defense, I think that like at the
don't know.
smaller
It's too-
portions
That's not how
of
you do it,
mushrooms
man.
do nothing. So then I get scared that I'm going to have wasted this high, quote unquote. So then I take the rest of the bag. And then
it's downhill
it's
from
Looney
there.
Tunes.
Scary
It's Looney
shit,
Tunes
bro.
where G.I. Joe figures are walking around and everything.
Excuse
I
me, bro.
have microdosed acid. We used to have acid
That's
in
not-
our
you can't-
freezer.
that's
and
not
I
how-
just give it a little lick. Just a little
You
lick
can't
as I head out the
microdose.
door.
That's not how you micro. You can't microdose
But I've been
acid.
through all
just
like
give it a
I used to
baby
be a
lick.
What the
raver
fuck are you
and shit.
talking
Like, I've been
about,
through the
dude?
whole drugs and rave
I think
scene.
you can microdose it. I did it.
You can take
I
a
really
smaller
was.
dose of acid,
Yeah,
but
I would, I would
I
take a
don't know.
small
I don't-
dose
it's-
every
I haven't
day.
done it
I
in
was
a long
microdosing
time.
acid.
That's not
But
how
I used
that really
to do
works.
that.
man.
Like,
When's the last time you done acid?
20 years. Like rave scene way back in the days. I used to go to raves in the early 90s. So
When's the
I was
last
a
time you did
big
ketamine?
I never did that.
Yeah, rave scene, no ketamine.
What are you, the
No
fucking
cables.
feds, dude?
Hey, I'm the new Vlad TV. Okay,
Fucking
No
Jesus.
crystal, no ketamine.
you got
Christ.
anything? You got any on you?
No, none of that.
The shroomy woomies.
I actually
the
do.
organics,
I
you got
a
'em on
little
you?
bit. Yep.
All right, bring them out. Let me
I
see
mean,
this.
no,
Then the
man,
SWAT
we're good,
team.
man, we're
The
good.
SWAT team descends.
Wow, you're not on camera right now.
Yeah, you're not on camera. You're not on four. You're not on four different cameras right now.
10 cameras
What are you
and
talking
live
about?
streaming.
Yeah, this
My
My
isn't being
sisters, I
recorded.
bet, if they're watching this, they're like, "Don't tell people that you do that." I bet
You're
I
an
don't- hey, man,
artist.
I'm
That's
We
good, man.
expect
that
you
doesn't
to
matter.
do something.
In 2024 is the year that if it's not psilocybin this year, in Mass, it'll be next year. It's
Yeah.
already legal in some of
Yeah.
the counties.
So you're
And
ahead of the curve.
It's the
That's
well,
what's
I mean,
up.
there's already some places in Mass where it's decriminalized. I mean, so
It is actually in Somerville,
Somerville,
where I lived. I was
yeah,
like, "Are
yeah.
you kidding me?" Somebody was like, "No, it's
You're good.
decriminalized."
It's like
you
it's
don't-
like I think it's in Charleston. It's like
I was
2 or
so
3 places out there.
surprised. Yeah.
And then obviously the states, all the West states are all fucking decriminalized, and
Yeah.
I think or they're like straight legal. I think some of them, like Oregon and shit. Fucking so it's coming.
Everything's legal
Well, you
in
know,
Oregon.
weed, like I
Smoke
used
crack.
to blaze it, and like it would. Some of this and things were like psychedelics or just they were influential for my art. Like I gotta give credit to some of it, but a lot of times it was backfire or I would get tired or
Hey,
not
man,
finish work.
Steve
and-
Jobs said
or
it.
Smoking that
lost
top
and,
of the
like,
line
just-
shit.
just kind of lose myself in the art and like have to just kind of sober up a bit to get it done or to. So some of it was really good motivational, but then sometimes it would distort things and.
Well, that's what I
wouldn't really
think
be able
with
to-
like all these young musicians. You do all these drugs and you're all creative. You put out some of your magnum opus albums, but you're young enough where your body can recover
That's
the next
the
day.
age difference.
They keep
yeah.
doing the same drugs because then they're addicted, and that's why all their later albums are trash because
That
they can't.
could
Their
be the
body
case.
can't handle it. You know.
Yeah,
that's my,
as I
that's
got
my
older,
hypothesis.
it just basically started to hit me, So like, you don't have the same kind of
I
energy.
think it's more too like your fucking. It's like your first album is the album for your whole life up to that point.
well, that's all.
Because you've been making that shit since you've been 12.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then like the next one was okay from
Yeah,
from
you kinda
1989 to 1990. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
right,
interesting.
and that might
Yeah.
be the bigger
You know.
reason right there. But I think another reason
'Cause,
is
like,
just that they
making
keep
music-
doing drugs when their body can't.
Hush is someone
That's
like
true.
I mean I
What up, Hush?
doing drugs and like drinking and shit, making music and whatnot. Like looking back on it now, like and being creative without this, with like out. I've been drinking almost 2 years. It's like a week away from 2 years. So like without that kind of shit
And I
everything.
haven't drank since April 15th. Just
Nice.
for all the
Fucking-
children out
That's
there.
amazing,
If I
man.
can do
But
it,
the point-
anyone can do it. That
But
was
like
the problem.
before I
It's hard,
stopped,
man.
before I quit, my biggest fear was not being able to be like creative and not being funny and shit like that.
sociable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sociable,
yeah.
funny, but even like
Comfortable.
artistically
But you've
creative.
always been funny
But it's like
looking.
I just wonder going back now, like if making art back then, did I need alcohol and stuff to write
wonder,
verses
right,
and then go on stage and do all that shit? Did I actually need
Now
that? Like
that
Hush, do
you
you ever
know, you
like
should,
because you Hush, you don't really drink or smoke or do anything anymore.
I mean, I dabble a little bit like with the
Yeah, but
shroomies
like
and
not
whatnot,
like
nothing-
motherfuckers used to.
Nothing consistent, yeah.
But how do you feel about that? Like the way like. Do you ever think that now that you like don't smoke and shit that you would need like because you always used to smoke mad shit and make music? Do you think there's any difference at all?
I mean, like there was when I first stopped smoking, I was like wondering if it would affect anything. But then after after doing it so long, it didn't really. I probably would be better sober. Honestly,
Like, what do you think? You like because
Yeah.
you probably thought the same thing, right? When you first
I
stopped
was
doing
a little
everything.
worried, like, because it was a crutch, and I'm like, oh, will I be will I have that kind of like flow, and will it come out dope? And yeah, it's just for a little phase for a year or a few months, and then you just kind of like do it, and you realize it's you.
Once you
anyway.
realize you're dope, once you realize
don't
you're
need it.
dope,
You don't
you're
need
like,
it, yeah.
it's kind of cool. I've been like in rooms with like 4, 5, 6 people I used to get fucked up with, and then like everyone's sober now, and they're still all just dope motherfuckers, and it's
Yeah,
like,
and
dude, we were
funny,
always just
yeah.
dope. Like it's just we didn't need none of that shit.
Well, I think it just becomes what you put out after you get clean might be for a different audience, or actually the audience might be growing with you, so they might be getting sober too. Because I think it's slang.
Depends lyrically.
Lyrically, yeah,
that
but even
no, because sober
sound-wise-
people listen to Griselda. You know what I'm saying? Sober people that don't sell crack listen to that shit and love it. Like, you know, like I understand kind of what you're saying, but at the same token, like I don't think maybe you would make like Slain music if he wasn't in that when he was making that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like I don't think that would have happened.
Like you couldn't have made White Man is
But-
the devil and been sober.
but do you
making that
think
music.
Slain has lost or
Right, I was thinking like Slim Shady LP. Right, all his albums after that though, they do have like it's a different story than it was on like Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers, Encore. Well, we should never mention Encore. That's one of the worst fall off albums of all fucking time.
Well, wait. One thing about Encore though is a lot of the good tracks leaked, so he like made a lot of like half the tracks he made in a very short time. If you actually take the bonus tracks
the
and
Us
like
as
replace
Americans
the
and-
weaker song,
Yeah.
If you replace those, then it's actually a solid
Okay,
all around.
yeah, because that was clearly rushed.
Yeah, I agree. With that. And I
But
mean,
yeah, you like
And that's when
yeah.
he was at the height of his drug addiction, is what he said in interviews. And I'm like, well, that makes sense how you made that fucking trash album. I took it and I threw it out the window of my mom's car.
Damn.
when you were doing your taxes
Driving your
earlier,
mom's
this guy was
car.
asking
Because
about
my mom said, if you don't do that, you're out the window.
This guy was
because
at-
the explicit lyrics.
My mom's car.
My mom, the mom mobile. I still have the mom mobile till this day. I'm driving my mom's.
But remember you were
Mom
telling me
mobile.
that, like, saying how I dance and I'm all social fucking,
No,
getting
I
crazy.
don't remember that.
Well, you know the jizzle line.
said it just a few minutes ago.
Some
No,
MCs
but,
have
when
to snort
I pushed
cocaine just to
myself
act
to
insane.
be like expressive and socially, like, not get all introverted, because I was sober and I would be like, I did feel uncomfortable and it was tough to be around people and lots of liquor and bars and stuff. But then I would just make myself be like, you just gotta get out of your shell. So I would kind of start being the first person dancing and being a little wild, and then give people confidence, I think, to start coming to the dance floor, to start loosening up, where a lot of times you need a drink to loosen up. So I kind of found I was like this trigger to get people open, and once I found that out, I'll push myself even further right away once I go to a place where I'll start talking to people real friendly and expressive.
The energy.
Because if you can close up, it compounds more and more. Like we talk about stuff like that, and the night will ride you, and you'll just become an observer. And instead, if you just get out your head and you socialize even with the person at the door or the person behind the counter, now everyone's saying hi to you, and you're like sort of like everyone's like,
You're a
does
part
he
of
know
it.
everybody
You're
in
a
this
part of
place?
it instead of
Yeah,
watching.
and you just
Don't-
feel real open.
Don't
and
give your
shit.
brain long enough to start making excuses.
Yeah,
You
'Cause
gotta
you'll
be
get in this
Three
defensive mode,
3
survival
second rule.
mode.
3 second rule.
Yeah, it's easy to get swallowed up into the thoughts of like.
Part of that shit is too, like, once you realize, I think psychedelics are like that as well, because people always worry about like when you take psychedelics, you get scared real quick. You're like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna fucking die? Like, oh,
No, I take a bunch of Xanax with the psychedelic,
and then
I get nothing but the visuals, and no body.
But then eventually,
Comfortably
after like a couple times of doing it, you realize like I'm not gonna die. This is fine. Like no one's ever died from this. I feel like the same thing is like going out and putting yourself like out like that is like it's just always like that fucking terrifying thing. But then when you do it, you're like, oh, that was way better than I thought it was gonna be, and like it didn't hurt at all, and like no one died, and it wasn't scary at all.
Absolutely.
But everyone has that fucking thing of like, but when you realize everyone in the room has that.
Right.
It's like a lot easier to be like, oh, everyone's scared in here.
It's our ancestry, like it's our fucking mechanics to be like, social gathering. Will I get clubbered over the head if I outshow? Like
I like
the
how you
tribe
combine
and
club
like it's
and
our
clobber.
it's our survival state of being like, will I be accepted by the pack? It's kind of like how we are, but if you are out and alpha about it, or just maybe not even have to try that hard, but just
alpha.
if you're like, I don't give a fuck, and like I'm just having a good time, like I don't care if I'm laughed at or not.
Look at
I'm
this,
the butt of your joke.
Look at this alpha right now. This alpha primate
if
over
you
there.
become
Alpha's
like
always
that,
cellular alpha.
People don't care if they're if people notice that you don't care and you don't give a fuck. That also helps them not give a fuck, right? So say if you're dancing and being foolish and people are like laughing, like, oh, look at that. But then you're like, well, he's fucking, now I'm just here mocking
Now
him.
all the bitches are trying to fuck him.
Right. And
So- they're all pressing. They're all jocking his style, pressing up on him.
The
Style
last
In his
shall be
buffalo
first.
stance.
Styling off.
Yo,
We
when
should
you
go out with the big Dookie chains
when you
on.
when you were
Saturday
doing your
night, let's
taxes,
go.
what's going on right now in hip hop?
What's going on right when I was doing my taxes?
Yeah, you said you were doing taxes. I thought you were doing fucking research for the show.
Oh.
Hush, you got any current events? What the fuck's going on? Yeah, what's going on, man? What's going on in hip hop
Have
right
we
now?
been talking for that long? That
Yeah, we're talking-
current
we're-
events?
Hold on.
It's been
Before
about
we
a-
get too current with all the, he was talking about Eminem and Mumble Bills. It made me think of Marky Mark. I wanted to ask Brian Life because I seen this on his website. I seen that you did a logo for the Mark Wahlberg Youth Foundation.
Yeah.
I want to know how that came about, and did you meet Marky Mark?
And are you an honorary member of the Funky Bunch?
Not really. So, no, like, I actually haven't met.
is.
I've met him way.
You know
back.
who you are. You know you
Before
are.
he was like Marky Mark or Mark Wahlberg, the actor. Even
You
before-
gotta believe.
So I used to be in a hip hop group and we'd perform and we'd do different things. And I remember being on Lansdowne Street.
Hold on.
for
What was the name of your hip hop group?
Brand New Funk. BNF. Brand New Funk.
Motherfucker.
Brand New
That
Funk.
sounds
So
so
he was-
official. That sounds
he
like
was
it.
pretty funky with it.
Yeah.
Not just funky.
He was at like a video shoot for something else. It wasn't him. He wasn't.
So he's part of the
rapping
Funky Bunch. What the fuck are we?
You're
Oh.
Lave,
He
put that
knew
in the
me.
title. Brian
So
Life
he-
of the Funky Bunch.
So he'd be like, "What's up, man?" Because I was like, we were kind of like some of the only white dudes there.
Heard you guys are brand new funk. Heard you got a Funky Bunch.
Yeah. Oh shit, he stole our name.
the brand
bro.
new Funky Bunch.
And then he used to play basketball with my sister. She was a MVP. She was better. She'd school. What?
No.
Boston.
No, it's just
when are you
like,
gonna get into the Whitey Bulger stories too?
She'd like
Oh, because that's like because
ball on him because
that-
she's real good. She was the MVP for like.
that's funny in a lot of different ways because
UMass Boston.
everyone says that they know Mark Wahlberg in some kind of way, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just funny to think short ass Mark Wahlberg playing basketball with
Right.
your sister, who probably is like a real MVP and really is nasty at basketball,
was,
but it's still a funny like
You know-
visual.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
And you know Mark Wahlberg.
I'm picturing him in like
I think
heels.
We'd say what's
Yeah, the
like
raised up-
what's up or
like
whatever.
Prince
You
Heels.
know, it's way
well,
back
he's
in the
one
day,
of the
so-
type of dudes where he's going to contact us about taking that down off the website. That part about where we were mentioning that he played basketball
In
against your
heels.
sister,
Probably.
because he denounced
In heels.
all of his Funky Bunch days, all of his.
Did he?
Did he know
No,
you
if
were
you
an
call him
artist back
Marky
then?
Mark,
But
he like flips
what's
out.
up?
Did he know you were an artist back then? Is that how?
I
like,
don't
the
think he
job
knew I
came
was an
full
artist. I
circle?
was a cool white boy. Like I had dreads and I was like a hip hop art. Like I was
wow.
a dancer and
Yeah,
he
hold
knew
on.
that I
Wait,
You
had.
had dreads.
What the fuck is going on right now?
I had.
There's like a
Riz-
layer. There's
I had
so many
Riz-
layers to this alpha
Charisma.
onion. That is
He wants to
Brian
tell
Light.
this story so bad. It's like dreads. What? It's
Right,
like
this
Yeah,
is what I'm
he's-
talking about.
like
This-
hip hop style dreads. Not
I'm
like
just my
hippie
mind's
dreads.
blown.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just trying to
nice,
picture
nice.
you right now on cocaine with dreads, and I'm like, this is just fucking
Right.
out of control.
So he knew I was cool and like even the way I dressed, like forms, Adidas forms, and I was just basically a hip hop dude back then. And you could just, I had that. So he was just like, oh shit, there goes somebody.
Do you know
cool.
Ben Affleck also?
And I knew he felt like that.
You know
What?
Ben. You know Ben Affleck.
No,
You know Whitey Bulger.
no.
Is it
So
Whitey
like,
Bulger
but
or
like
Bulger?
some of the new kids on
Whitey
the block,
Bulger?
like I've painted
So hold on.
murals for like.
wow.
Wait, yeah. Do you know
Wood.
Donnie Wahlberg?
I know him to say what's up, to give dap, to be like, what's up.
Okay.
But, like,
to finish
New Kids
off
on
your
the
Mark
Block,
Wahlberg.
Will
baby.
he know me now? I don't know. I was a younger dude back then, younger than him, and he just knew I was like a group. We had a group. It was like,
So we knew of your group.
yeah, probably. So it was predominantly like Black and Spanish youth club called DYC, and they used to New Kids on the Block used to practice out of there, and then when they got famous, they would give tickets. We'd go to New Kids on the Block shows with like MVP.
New Kids on the
passes.
Block was my
We'd
first
get all
concert,
these
homie.
How many New
group-
Kids on the Block
like
concerts have you
groupies
been
and
to,
shit.
Brian?
Like 3 or 4.
Okay.
So
Wow.
they
I was
would
expecting
come
like
up
40.
once in a while and check up on the youth club, or they'd stop
The
by.
newer
and
kids
say-
on the block.
Yeah, they'd stop by and say what's up,
Yeah.
and they'd see us there, and it was only like we were like the only 4 white.
Do you have
people,
Mark
white
Wahlberg's
dudes
number?
there. No, but I did a mural for Danny Wood, he was in the New Kids on the Block.
You guys
I
like
painted
that was a
his
weird way to
house.
say that.
Like I painted
Danny Wood.
murals in his house, huh?
It was a weird way to say that, like Danny Wood.
For Danny.
It sounded like Hollywood, but Danny Wood. yeah, it's like
Danny Wood.
like a
I thought you were
fucking
talking about a porn star.
No, like
no, so I did that, and I know Jimbo Wahlberg. Like me and him are actual like friends, like communicate.
was he in New Kids on the Block?
No, he's
Jimbo?
he's a brother of the Wahlbergs.
Okay, I'm like, what the fuck?
Do you know Bobby Brown?
He's like a sober brother of the Wahlbergs. He was like,
So how did the Mark Wahlberg Foundation come up though?
so I think that I got connected through Jimbo Wahlberg, like the brother who's like sober. He does like talks, and he's very like big in the community of sobriety and like trying to help people and everything. So me and him have always been cool. He used to be a counselor at the youth club. Like when he got out of jail or something, he used to be into some shit. Out of all the Wahlbergs, he was kind of like more of a street kid, like doing things.
Well,
and
Mark
stuff.
Wahlberg was pretty street.
So he was
like,
super
went to jail
cool, man.
for breaking
Like
a dude's
Jimbo's the
jaw.
man. Jimbo's like the unknown Wahlberg. Well, he's known because
known
his
now.
son's an actor.
Can you get us the New Kids on the Block for the Big Dookie chain?
what to come in?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I could
You're the intermediary that we didn't
So
know we
that's it.
needed
Like,
to
so I
get the
just
new
kinda, like,
kids.
would get tickets. We'd pick up on groupies. We'd do all this crazy shit. Man.
Were your
They
sisters
thought
like?
we were famous just because we were like we'd have VIP passes and we'd walk around backstage. And
That's what this
Big,
guy.
big-
This guy went through like how many years of that? It's
Yeah.
like,
Right, yeah, it's nice, and I'm
like-
saying,
it's
I'm saying
garden,
we need,
nice.
to,
like the
he said it's
garden.
nice.
we need to print up our own. Hush,
be in the
Tash,
garden,
we,
you
need to,
know.
we need to print up our own for the Big
V-
Dookie chain.
VIP passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Do you
dope.
think they'll see Big Dookie chain and be like, is this
So the
legit?
Jimbo Wahlberg connected me to Mark and was like, we need this youth club logo done, and I did that, and it was just through emails.
What did
and
you think
stuff,
of those
so it wasn't
Hanes
direct
commercials?
To Mark.
Did you have Wahlburgers with the Wahlburgers?
I've had no, I've had it.
Oh, you are. I think he
I'm
has.
not close to them. Like, would he remember me? Mark, maybe. You know what I'm saying? He may be like, no, I remember who you were.
Are you in the Illuminati?
I mean, I feel like if
Yeah.
you brought up the fact you did the artwork.
Oh yeah, so he would probably know like a Boston artist did this logo.
Yeah.
But would he correlate
Well,
me
who-
with that being that
who
cool white
knows?
boy who had all like style and
Oh,
clothing
going
and,
that
and was a
back, yeah.
dancer and he just knew I had something. Like I remember it was kind of like a competitive kind of thing. Cause like it was like I'm Mark Wahlberg and I'm like so what I'm
I'm Brian
I'm
Life.
life and I'm like I could do
Yes.
this and I was like bust
Hey,
out
hey,
dance moves. And
You were the
shit.
first funky bunch. you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
That was a real dance.
What was the name of the group again?
Brand new funk.
Brand new funkier bunch.
DNF brand new.
This is definitely a clip. Like we know that one is going to be clipped
I
by
don't
the
know
AI.
what's clipping, man. What else? We done talking about me and the
We
art.
gotta,
Nah.
yeah, we could bring
Yeah.
it to more current
I can
events
talk
if you
more
got any.
about-
You want to
I
know
don't
what's
You
going
guys
on in the
didn't
world
really
today?
hit the nails.
Actually,
on
I
the
wanna
head
know-
with the art, did you?
Well, with what?
I
No,
don't know. You guys actually did.
we're going to be doing a whole other episode. I'm going to bring in my vinyl records. You can bring in the ones that I don't have
Yeah,
yet.
it will be easier to do that kind of stuff with, you know what I'm saying, if we have the actual visuals to hold up and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We can plan that out that way because this guy does have
I know,
like
and I'm
every
getting.
fucking record.
You can see I'm
Yeah.
getting very excited right now.
Yeah, it's-
because there's some other ones I still need to get signed by you.
Yeah.
But
no,
also-
I'm glad we talked about
Yeah.
all that stuff. Actually,
And we can.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I'm not like
Bring
trying
it
to
up, bring
think
it
of
up.
Some of the graffiti stuff, like I'm still getting busy with cans and graffiti. Like
Cans?
I never stopped with the spray paint.
I'm just saying, man. It's
What's your-
Saturday night. Cans.
Titties,
Cans.
tits with mouths on
Am I
them.
supposed to
Wait, when's the last time?
metaphorical?
When's the last time you've drawn a girl that wouldn't accept your friendship on Facebook? Or
I've always used. I used to
Wouldn't
use that
follow
as
you
a
back on
line,
Instagram.
Like, yo, I'd love to draw you sometime. It was
Well, now
always
he's like fucking.
Wait.
Now he's got a portfolio and
That was
shit.
a-
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I become your manager,
kind of a pickup line.
one of the
Can I
first.
draw you sometime?
Yeah, but I'm
no,
talking
no,
about.
now he just drops like a DM of like a picture that he's drawn already.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Right.
oops, I didn't mean to do
Oops.
that. My
Yeah,
bad.
my
Mona
address.
Lisa, my bad. Didn't
No,
mean to
my
fucking do
address
that.
at the end.
This
He's
could
gonna
be a-
on the Titanic, drop as one of the French
This could be a
girls.
business that people call up, and we got this company where they send in the girl a
kinda
picture of
sucks.
the girl that they're trying to get with or slide into the DMs for.
You
You
kinda
do a
use
quick
it-
drawing. How many of these can you knock out in a day? How many customers
So
can we have in
you
a day?
use it as like a way to lure in a chick, but it's kind of like it kind of bites you in the ass. Like, oh, can I draw you? Or you'd be like, it'd be dope to draw you sometime.
$300
Oh,
bucks.
we're
Like
a
recording.
4
Yeah, we're
gigabyte,
recording.
dude. Right?
4
gig with
gigabyte.
them
I mean,
for a
4
while. Then they're like,
gigabytes. 4 gigabytes.
4 terabytes.
You know what that is? Eddie Torres, extra testicle from fucking.
Come back.
Meep.
No, I remember I was
No,
drunk
it's
one time.
it's
and
Cheech and Chong.
I was drunk
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time going up a girl's shirt and
Damn.
she left and I was like drunk, like come back, come back. And my friend was like laughing at me. He's like, you just squeezing at the air.
Damn.
But I was like, but I
If
was
that
going
doesn't
up her
paint-
shirt.
if that doesn't paint a visual.
Yeah.
So did you touch the nipple, the areola? Did you get to the areola?
Yeah,
then the
man.
nipple?
I was going up her shirt. What the
Okay.
fuck?
This guy knows a fucking name.
Get the under tit sweat. The under boob.
Is-
the
is-
under boob, right? There's an under boob.
Is there
it
anything-
was sexy? Now it's gross and shit.
Is there anything else that you're doing? Like, what are you doing right now?
I'm just right now. I'm like I was getting into 3D like animation, like making things move and making little videos and really like bone structure, like puppetry of the characters that I make, and just full out animation, which is tough to do because sometimes I just do the 3D model and take one still, but this time to actually make it move with cameras and lighting and stuff, that I accomplished that over the summer. So I made this little music video for a local Boston band, Aldous Collins Band, and it's just a dope song. And like this character I created, the whole video, he's breakdancing, he's like dancing on the beach, all the palm trees, the whole beach, everything I made, like the seawall. He's like, it's a really cool little set. So that was dope. So I love that. And then I'm getting a little bit into AI a little bit, but not like just texting, like typing in a prompt and letting the AI do it. I'm actually drawing stuff, uploading the art, and then utilizing AI to kind of like render parts. And then I'll zoom in and I'll select and edit. And it's always influenced by my drawing. So it's like really just using it as a tool, which
Utilizing a tool.
something new,
Yeah,
man.
this is back to the Pat G.
I
interview.
couldn't believe it, and like I'm using those tools now because I'm like, I'm not gonna let it take over me. I mean, it's here forever. There are debates on what it was trained on, if it's just stealing from artists or the authentication of it. But it's like anything it outputs is not like a direct rip. It's just like it's a whole subject, but basically like it ain't going nowhere. So I'm just like, all right, how am I going to use this in a smart way, but also be authentic and not like use it as a crutch? Like we could fucking stay home and play video games and watch movies and just never go out and be in the world, or we could do both, or I could get delivery all the time, or I could cook some food. It's up to me to discern and balance what I'm going to do. So with the aid of like art, like in computers, like I could use Photoshop and I could trace something, or I could steal and then put it out and act like I did it. But am I being true to myself or not? Like how much did I really do? Or somebody could steal a loop and a sample and maybe throw harder drums on it, but like maybe they can do more to it or alter it or chop it and replace it and rearrange it or make something more original than just stealing and sort of remixing. I'm not saying sampling ain't bad. Ain't good or bad. It's just you gotta put in your own soul to it. So with the AI, I'm putting my soul in there, and I'm also like orchestrating, directing very hard, and I'm making sure I don't lose sight of that. You know what I'm saying? So
That's dope.
yeah, I'm basically just kind of utilizing it.
So
Thanks.
at this point in your life, you must have had a million adventures. Like, what's a time where your art's brought you somewhere where you've been like, how the fuck did I end up here?
Like physically, out
Like
to
I just mean like
another
a
place,
cool ass place, a faraway place, a a famous place? Who the fuck knows? There's got to be a time or two where you've been like, I can't believe that my
I did
fucking
go to
art.
Art Basel once. I got flown there and I painted, and I was really happy about like everything was taken care of.
What about like
But-
one of these artists or something like that? You've done some of these like albums for, or someone that maybe bought one of your paintings or something like that. That you've just like gotten a cool story out of that.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I can't really say it's been like.
This guy's worked with Hasbro, fucking movie stars, fucking every rapper you can name, and he has no.
Oh, I did like a cool.
There's
Because
no
we're
cool,
putting him on the spot.
he has no
You
cool
know,
stories.
Cool Keith was like a
Yeah.
single. I was pretty proud of that, like, because, you know, it's like on like some people know about Cool Keith, Dr. Octagon, and like, you know, Ultramagnetic.
Well, even Eminem
MCs.
shouts him out. I'm as kooky as Cool Keith.
Yeah, so
on
like
Rap
I
God.
did a single with Cool Keith for Cool Keith. That was dope. I don't know, man. Like,
Wait, what's
there ain't,
the-
like,
which
huge
one did you-
highlights.
what-
It's just being an artist and like more the experience of it. Being on graffiti adventures, like going out there and living that present moment of doing
this
it
vagueness.
is a dope experience.
What was
like
the cool? I mean, sorry. What
Shut
was the
the
Cool
fuck up.
Keith single you did?
Thug or what?
I'm
Thug
gonna
or
have to
what?
look that one up. You also did, and I almost said this instead. Cool G Rap. You did a 12-inch for him.
I did.
Sex,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Was that the name?
Talk Like Sex.
Oh
So
yeah.
Cool
Have
G
you,
Rap,
have you
know,
met
so
these
these-
any of these artists?
Some like Cage and like High and Mighty, like did I meet?
Like you
Roselle?
didn't? Did you get to like hang out with these guys or anything?
Not all of them. You know what I mean? Some of them.
You were actually at Ecko when
What
Ecko.
do you want,
Fucking
man?
guy.
You're making me out. I'm the
Hey.
fucking. I'm the motherfucker.
Hey,
That's, they get to hang out with me. is the
Listen,
question.
I should get the mic right now because I'm
Yo.
the true fan. The triple threat when Ecko was working with Boot Camp Click and they put out Sean Price's Monkey Bars,
Uh-huh.
Reloaded by Tech and Steel or Smith and Wesson, and then Ninth Wonder and Buckshot
I didn't
album.
do any of them illustrations. Are you talking about those?
Yeah, they
I know the
they
dude.
did for the
he used
cover
to work
art.
with me at Ecko.
Who was it?
Damn man, I'm.
He was
trying-
really
I'm
important to
forgetting
you,
his
I
name
see.
right now. No, shut the fuck. Come on, man. Don't put me out there like that.
He'd never forget
Damn.
your name, Brian.
Yo, I'm fucking
Like,
forgetting
life?
right
I'd
now.
never forget
he
life.
may be watching right now too, which is like really bad of me. If it'll come
Doing
to
Steve Buscemi right
but
now,
he
putting
did
the
a
lipstick
lot.
on.
He did a lot of those record covers.
Cocking the shotgun, like.
Damn man,
I thought I was
really
nice to
can't
that guy.
remember Right now.
Yeah, because that shit was fire.
Yeah, I used to work with these two dudes in Ecko Unlimited, and fuck, man, I can't remember his name at this very moment.
Well, it
we
wasn't-
just messaged each other.
I knew that
recently.
you didn't do the artwork.
his
sucks,
phone's
dude.
not. His
Yeah.
name's not in your phone.
Like,
I knew that you didn't do the artwork for those albums, but I guess
yeah,
it's
what the
just
fuck?
Mark Ecko's a big hip hop fan, right? He's a big fan of rap. That's how we end up with it. Damn! This is the payback.
No, but
because
I'll tell you
we
a
asked for
story about-
specifics.
I'll
Now
tell
you're
you a
gonna hit
story
me with
about
that.
Mark Ecko.
Cutting, I
All right.
guess.
So that Aqua girl, the girl with the green background, if people look at my website, you'll see her, and on IG. So that was printed out next to my computer, right? So he was wealthy and the big business and all that, like Mark Ecko, multimillionaire. He would walk around
Must be
sometimes,
nice.
like he came in with DJ Jazzy Jeff one time, and had
Yeah,
like
that's what I was getting at.
right. So like, but I'm not. Are you telling me was I like starstruck?
No, I'm
or
saying
was
who
I like, oh my
were
God,
some
I
of the
met-
artists that came through Ecko while you were there?
Well, that was one.
Yeah.
So like, and
He's
I
one of
told
the
you
greatest-
Kanye West was downstairs, like
Did you?
performing. I did.
did.
Before he was big and famous, like the Kanye and the Kardashians and all that. But like when he was just popping and starting off, he was. Remember, he used to rap with. He was kind of an underground MC. I kind of forget his name too.
Maybe
Consequence.
Common.
Consequence.
Rhyme
Yeah,
Fest.
Consequence.
Oh, Rhyme Fest too.
But Rhyme Fest too.
Consequence is like a
Well,
more
Consequence
diet
was
version of Rhyme
with him, and they would go
Fest, I
on tour
think.
and stuff. So anyway, like Mark Ecko is walking around. They comes in, everyone's on eggshells. Oh, Mark, the elevator. And
Marky
I'm like,
Mark.
I'm like, whatever, man. Like I was just mad, like working and just kind of getting beat, like feeling like not, like I gotta go. And he walked by and he's like talking with this guy. He looked like some European guy, I don't know. And he goes, "Did you do that?" And he goes sucked into the painting to the. He goes, "Did you do that?" And like the whole room went. And I go, "Yeah, that was That's." He's like, "Oh," and then he retracted back and he's like, "That's airbrush. That's airbrush, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, a lot of people used to do that in the 90s and 80s." And I was like, "Yep, that's what I do." I still kept it up, but I just knew my power at that moment where he just basically was like, yeah, it just struck him, and I go, like I shouldn't be here. I don't know.
This
There
is
was
why they don't
something
want to
about it.
give you shit.
And when he left,
the second you get shit,
right at that moment, I
You
should have
get
been
so
like,
full
"Yo,
of
you
yourself.
see how dope I am, right? Like, why don't you fly me here? Why don't you get me
You should-
like get my own office? Why don't I should have like threw it down right there. I didn't do any of that, but I felt the power that I had, and I was like, whatever, man. Like this is just
Yeah, instead of quitting, you should have been in his office.
He needs
in
a
the
me.
next
I got
hour.
a question.
He needs a me that like knocks the door down. And
Life.
fucking,
Have you ever thought
that kind of
about
shit.
making your own clothing line?
I have, but it's like this is the other thing. Like clothing, I love, and I love fashion and everything. But like, I went to some of those warehouses where they silk screen and they mass produce all these, and it was kind of fucking. It was real depressing. Like mad piles of clothing and like sweatshop-ish. Like people really underpaid and like this whole washing machine room area where it was like they were mopping and everything seemed so down. It was very like very gloomy. Yeah. And I was like, man, I just don't like this. And I always felt that in my gut. Like I never liked the whole big
mass production.
Yeah, it's just something about it I can't really contribute to.
But you can do like almost craft beer. Like, you know what I mean? Craft beer clothes, like small batches and stuff like
true.
that. You can always like,
I don't want
special drops.
There's ways all conscious about it, but
there's
like,
ways to
I really
do it.
just
We'll
something
talk.
in my gut. But I wanted, and I wish
We
I
should
made
do a big,
that money.
We
like,
should do a big
I wish I
Dookie
was a
chain drop.
millionaire. I wish I was
we'll figure it out.
I wish I made a brand and all that. Like they also got to work
It's
too.
not too late, man.
Like these people have to work. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of like
everything you see on this
immigrants and
wall
stuff
is
working
trademarked and copywritten.
But I just felt like there
All
wasn't
brands.
something ain't right. Like either they're not getting paid right or what. But if you take that job from them, then they don't have nothing. So it's like it is a place that's providing work. But there was just something about it in the fashion
You
industry.
can
I
either
just
have
didn't wanna
morals
get.
or you can have millions. Which do you choose?
Yeah, so morals.
Both.
Obviously.
Damn.
Both. You can have both.
obviously
Why can't
Yeah,
you
you
have
can
both?
have both.
It's like when someone's like, you can have brains or you can have like beauty. It's like, why not have fucking both?
I know,
Why-
right?
why-
This
It's rare.
man is an
It's
optimist.
rare.
So if you
It's
want
not
that
rare.
kind of management,
No,
you
when
go
you
to him.
find
You want
them-
the other kind, come to me.
You gotta draw enough women, you'll find one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I think the idea
So that was a
of
pretty good story. I was like, damn, that's pretty interesting. Everyone's like all on his dick every time he comes in, and he just jumped on mine like swinging like Tarzan from Vine.
Yeah, so you-
like, oh.
swinging
someone-
from your
I was
pubic
like, yeah.
hair.
I was like, yep, I'm the man. And I go, well, but you're still being his bitch, so you should probably quit at some point. So I just something about, I got that B-Boy game cover.
You're an
and
angsty little
and I
fucker,
was
aren't
really
you?
honored to do real hip-hop, like illustration, because of my history and what I know about the culture and the way I present it. Because they had some really bad European art that they had released for this game cover in Europe for like the first batch. And it was just like bad, like drawings of breakdancers, and it was just really cheesy, and it was no culture and no real authentic like truth in there. And the fact that I got hired to do that, and I was honored to do that, like I had kind of an epiphany. That was like during a break, like a Christmas break or something from Ecko, and most people go on vacations or this or that, and I just stayed in and illustrated that cover, and I really had like a breakdown. Like I was crying, I was
Breakdown,
going
break
through-
dance, break from
I was
Ecko.
like when I finished it, like it's a pretty important piece, and something about it, like I just went through, because I was also stressed out, I was late, I was high as fuck, but I remember almost like
Yeah, you sound like a model employee. They definitely should have paid you more.
who
Stressed, high,
Ecko.
late.
yeah.
Get this man a
But
raise.
no, like after I did that cover, I just didn't want to go back, because it was the vacation.
Sound
and I was like, I
overworked.
just don't want to go back. I was like, I want to do this, like this real shit. Like
Wait, which cover?
The B-boy,
The B-Boy
the
stance
game.
cover. Yeah,
B-boy
that-
stands
If you
together.
look up B-boy the game, and it was just like a big.
it's like a dude doing like a handstand thing, right?
Yeah,
Like yeah.
I don't know. It was like a.
It's dope.
Because I was just so used to doing their stuff all the time.
How'd you get Spider-Man?
Out of the like the G.I. Joe connection and the connection to Hasbro.
So what's that phone call like? Someone's like, "Hey, Brian, we want you to do something." You're like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, fucking do Spider-Man." You're like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah, it was fun, man. And there's a lot of graffiti.
Is that how it happened?
Well, like it was through a few emails, and like we've got this project. It's for San Diego Comic-Con, and it's all the 3 Spider-Man movies. We want you to compile into one illustration for a collectible item. So it was like this one Spider-Man.
And do you have that collectible item?
I think yes, I do.
Okay,
that
word.
I do.
Thank God. If not, this guy was gonna like fucking leap over the thing
Yeah.
and strangle
No,
you.
I have some of the G.I. Joes they would send me, some of the actual toys, and then some of them they wouldn't. Some of them they'd send me.
But you would never go buy one of your own
I
pieces
think
of art on
I think
something.
I bought 1 or 2. I'd go into the store, but it was crazy.
Were you ever with
so
a
like,
chick and was like, "Hey,
Yeah, I know.
Hey,
right?
this whole
Those
fucking rack.
experiences.
Well,
me"?
Well,
That was pretty dope.
and also, Brian, I don't want to like make the whole podcast about some like weird, funky, erotic shit. But you know what the Spider-Man is, right?
Not really.
Okay.
What
So
is it, man?
so you
Oh, geez.
and you come in your hand and then you throw it in her face, and that's the Spider-Man.
It sounds like sexual assault.
It's also it can be both. Not, a lot of these things are not mutually exclusive. You know,
That's terrible.
That just sounds crazy.
Oh, are you into the Spider-Man?
Not really.
But no, that was probably a pretty cool experience
if
though.
I
like,
had the girl with me, I don't think I'd be sitting there.
Jesus, I'm trying to just stay the fuck away from
It's
this.
Saturday
No,
night.
so like you asked me some of like
Like
the
with
heights
the
of my
shocker.
career or the way I
Well,
felt.
it's not even the heights. It's like for you, like
That would be one experience, like walking into a
fucking
department,
Spider-Man.
a toy store, and seeing your art mass like on all the shelves, and then going a few blocks to another Target or something and seeing your art there, and you're just like, this is all around the world. This is in every store in America. This is crazy. I did that.
I'm just
And
picturing like
that's a dope
him
feeling.
at like a rave or something, right? And going home with the young lady, and then like her
With
like
the
sons,
young
her
lady.
son's playing with the in your younger days, and her son's playing with like GI Joes in
Yeah.
the fucking ground. He's like,
Oh, I'm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
those are
fucking
my-
did that.
It's a spider web.
And then you hit her with the Spider-Man.
no.
And then Hush hits her with the shocker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You know, that was some cool shit. I don't really remember meeting anybody like, oh damn, that's some crazy honor.
You really
There's
are.
got to be one or two in there, but I'm just trying to think right now.
It's not even like an honor. Like like all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh shit, I'm like having a fucking drink with some like how
Oh,
the-
Rosie Perez was at an
Oh.
art. She was at an art gallery show, and me and her were looking at each other, and I know it, and she was like,
you're like I've seen white men can't jump,
Yeah, yeah,
motherfucker. I've seen white
did-
one moment with Rosie Perez where I was
Did
like,
you say
yo,
to her-
She'd fucking
feeling
murder you.
We didn't. It was so many
She'd cut
people. It was
you.
a big art show, and she's like so famous, and we were locking eyes, and there was a few times, and I'm
Oh,
like, she's feeling me.
So-
hey,
I was
hey,
like, she's feeling me.
when I
know it.
say I want a cup of water,
Uh-huh.
does it mean I'm thirsty?
I
Do you
don't
remember
know.
the scene from White Men Can't
Well,
Jump?
I
Okay.
remember.
I need to get everyone's opinion on the beginning montage of fucking Do the Right Thing that goes on for like 45 fucking minutes, and it's just Rosie Perez just like dancing for like 45 fucking minutes. It's like so long. It's
forget
like
that
it's gotta be over right now, and it's like nope, okay, she's still gonna go.
Weird shit.
Dude, it's long. It's like
I
3 to
haven't
4
seen
minutes.
that since it
It's
came out.
it's been a long time
like-
since I've seen it.
The opening credits of that, just her
Okay.
just dancing like
What
to like the
else?
like
Current
credits.
events. So yeah, I don't know. Like,
Oh, it's the
wish
Brian
I could
Life Show.
remember.
Yeah. You love
What else?
What else? Current events.
Right.
Hush, are there any current events? Do you have any current events? I saw you doing a whole bunch of legwork there.
I mean, there's current events, but it's like I don't even
We've
feel
been
like
talking
we've
for an
gotten
hour
many
and
peels in
45
on.
hour and 45 minutes.
There's so
Wow.
many layers to this onion. We just keep peeling.
An hour and
peeling
45 minutes.
peeling.
We can have him back
We got to have him back.
because we have to. We got to go through all this footage.
Come
Yeah,
back.
I didn't get to any of the fucking questions I had about these seminal albums.
That's like stuff you want to know for your personal,
No,
for your personal
but,
like.
but I think big Dookie chain watchers like who
It's-
really love albums like Movies for the
A lot
Blind.
of
Yeah, we'll
people
pull-
know
we'll pull that
it,
stuff
like,
up
some
sometime.
people know it, and some people like
These are
saw
huge.
all those album record covers.
we
and they
can
were
we
like,
can
yo,
do that
like,
when you can actually have
it's a
the
big
album.
deal.
You can pull it up and do the
but
thing.
you want current events? I got current events.
What you got?
Hey, can we do one of those drink champs? The really annoying like round of applause. Round of applause for
No,
Paul.
I don't think we can.
Hey,
don't.
hey.
Why are you encouraging him?
No,
I-
not for
that's
you,
right.
not for you. For Paul Wall, he's just celebrated 19 years of marriage to his wife.
Jesus Christ.
How's that
Great.
for a current
I
event,
mean,
right?
that's cool. You
That's
know?
cool.
Like,
Yeah, I
Paul
mean
Wall.
that's hip hop.
He's an
He
artistic
looks
guy. He
skinny
did those
and younger.
I know.
all the
I
time
like
now.
fat Paul Wall. Honestly,
All the
Like,
guys
him
are
getting
getting skinny,
is-
though.
He's great.
Fat
and
Joe.
they're, and they're not funny or interesting once they get skinny.
Fat
Seth
Joe.
Rogen,
Fat Joe's- they're all-
unfunny
yeah.
since he got skinny.
That
But
Fat Joe
all the hip hop
Yeah,
guys
Fat
are also
Joe should have to
getting-
change his fucking name.
That's why you gotta love Nori. Nori's like he gets like skinny, but then like he's like fuck it, and he's like with his shirt off, and he's like fat again. He's like fuck it.
Fat
Like,
Well, it's because he's doing a
Yeah.
show called Drink Champs. But
Yeah.
like, you should not be able to have your name Fat Joe and you're Skinny Joe. I don't like it. I don't like fucking Yeah.
what else don't you like?
It was at the tip of my tongue.
Big Pun.
Big
No,
Pun,
he
Big Pun
died
was the tip
fat.
of his tongue.
He
But
died fat.
he is skinnier now.
What
though.
you gonna do now?
He's,
though? Yeah,
Did you
now
say
it's-
Big Pun is skinnier in his grave?
I didn't say that. You
What
said
you gonna
that.
do? Like change?
No,
his
but
name? Like,
I want to make. You know what? It's like you do a joke and it's great, and then not all of the audience gets it. Like that was a real. That's why I have to explain.
That's why you gotta
every
explain jokes.
joke.
People love when you explain
They
jokes.
love that.
Yeah, people love
Nothing
it.
makes a joke more
Well.
impactful than when you explain it. Anyway, yeah, current events. So let's
Hush, what do
see
you got
what
over
we
there?
might have. Here.
Anything? Nothing. See, we're all old men that don't know shit about what's going on
So
in
you
hip hop right
stole
now.
all these different things from wherever you went.
I did. I'll explain.
Reserved.
I'll explain a lot of stuff. And then, yeah, that's all. Anytime you go, you get a suite. They always have like the.
That's dope.
They always make sure that you don't
Mad
smoke in the
cool.
suite. So yeah, there's a couple more of them, but they broke and
This
stuff over
is a no
time.
smoking.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shit on there that you'll actually be into.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over here. A lot of toys.
Yeah, not many toys, but
Well, a lot of like, what's the cheese? Oh, they all have utilitarian
the
purposes. You're right.
cheeseburger
The cheeseburger you
is
put
for
things
Craig.
in.
No, that's for Craig. So Craig his whole thing was cheeseburgers and yoga pants.
Okay.
So the cheeseburgers and stuff. That's why the Sense lives over there. The cheeseburger.
Got
You know what I mean? And that's what his painting and all that stuff up there is. But we
Air
see
Max.
people Air Max. So got the Sense ones on
You
right
said
now.
in yoga pants?
That was his like
Oh,
whole
that
thing.
he
Yeah,
loved
yeah,
eating
cheeseburgers and
looking at
yoga pants. No, he loved wearing them too.
No, really?
I don't think so. I don't know. Not that I even knew.
He loved Lululemon, man. Ooh, he really
I don't
loved
think Lululemon was out at that
No,
point.
I don't think it was.
It was. It's like a new age thing. The only other thing I knew was that like Keefe D is getting a new lawyer or some shit like that
Right,
because he's a
but
fucking
Who the
idiot.
fuck cares? I found this kind of interesting. They and this was last year for Record Store Day. They put out the Chronic, and of course cassettes are coming back, vinyl's coming back,
Oh,
not CDs. But they did a long box. You remember those?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
know.
that,
Yeah. Like it was but just had the tape in one end. It was a cardboard box.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
so now they're remaking those, and they started with I don't know if it's like a whole line they're
So
doing,
people
but
that, like,
the Chronic by Dr. Dre.
People that recycle are gonna fucking hate that shit. To save the planet, people.
Except it's all right.
First
It'll never-
first hip hop album you ever bought.
Probably like Tribe Called Quest.
Which one?
The Midnight Marauders, maybe.
Okay, you
I
didn't
mean,
like
I just love that.
People
but that's like I'm
Instinctive
sure I
Travels
bought
in the
shit
universe
way
of-
before that.
Well, what was your favorite album
can't- it's
album
not-
cover?
I've heard you on these podcasts say shit like no verbatim, like every song and all, like exactly where you were. I'm not like I don't remember it like that. You know what it was? My sister used to be a DJ, and she had every
the one that was dunking on Mark Wahlberg.
yeah, and so like
Yeah,
she
bring
would
her
have
in
like
here.
the Jizza before he was in Wu-Tang, in a crate, like when he had his own solo music.
That was when he went by the Genius.
The Genius.
Words
So he was
from the Genius.
Yeah, and I was
think
like,
it was.
yo, who's the Genius? So I knew about Genius before Wu-Tang, and all from her. So she would have all these tapes and records.
So your sister's
so I
actually
didn't
more
really
hip
need
hop
to
than
go
you.
buy. Like,
We
yeah,
shouldn't have even
kinda.
brought you in here. We
Yeah,
should have
yeah,
just brought her
should
in
have
here.
my
Brianna Life.
Sup, Tara? Yeah, have her in here.
Brianna Life.
She
But what's your
influenced
favorite
me.
album
That's a-
cover?
Good question. Yeah.
Ah, man, like I don't know.
Is it one of yours? Because honestly,
I
yours
don't really
could be
have
the best.
a favorite one, man.
Okay, what's your top 5?
Yeah. What's an
I'm
inspirational
not gonna
album
let
cover?
you
that you-
walk-
have
Oh.
like those kind of questions. It's tough for me to be like.
Or-
But I remember like
Are you a minimalist? Do
Well,
you
how
like
about
the
like the
Chronic
Beatles' White
cover,
Album?
or do you like doggy style
no,
cover?
like so. Slow down. All right, so hold on.
Well, I gotta move fast to
should
get a
I
word in with
answer?
these.
So I remember, what is it? Pharoah Monch.
Yeah.
The group that he was in.
Organized Confusion.
Organized Confusion. They had kind of a dope illustration on their cover. It was kind of like space and cosmos and
Yeah.
all that shit. The Far Side. That shit
Oh,
was
that
dope.
one's a
Wow.
dope.
Dope
one.
record
The one
cover.
you can fold out to, and it gets
it
like
was
really big.
Amusement
Yeah,
Park,
it's a really
like
big
they were
one.
all characters, and then they had the dog logo pissing
pissing
on.
the
It's
fire
like
hydrant.
Long Ride to the Far Side
the fire
or something.
hydrant was
Bizarre
pissing.
Ride.
Bizarre Ride to the Far. Yeah,
The
Long
fire
Ride.
hydrant
That's one of the
was
best
pissing
logos. The fire hydrant's pissing on the dog. I did that for like in sixth grade.
Wait,
I did
don't
that for
even
like art.
remember the
So that
logo of
shit's
a
dope.
fire
So
hydrant.
I was in
think I
a-
nailed it right there with
Yeah.
some of the dopest records.
No,
I've
definitely.
bought.
That one is.
It was like 6th or 7th grade. I did that logo, and I did the Gravediggers logo, and like
Oh, the
everyone
Gravediggers
just thought I
logo.
was crazy.
The Gravediggers
like-
logo is fire.
Because back then, like,
Redrew them, like
yeah, for like my 6th grade art project,
Yeah.
whatever it was,
And-
and, like
and
so that's about
actually,
it. I can't
for
remember
both
my
of
first
those, for the
record cover.
for the not the long. Why am I
What's up, Bush?
Bizarre
Chilling.
Ride to the Far Side. I recently Far Side were just in town,
Mm.
so I brought 2 of that record to get signed. But Fat Lips, that wily little character, he got away from me somehow.
Yeah.
And then for Gravediggers,
I think if you call them fat lips, it's like more of a diss, you know?
I'm not trying to. I am not
Extra
trying to
tits.
use fat lip as a diss because that just sounds racist.
I remember like hieroglyphics came to Boston once. Well, Souls of Mischief, was that, which one was Dell in? Dell's in Souls of Mischief, right? Dell the Funky
Yeah.
Homo Sapien. But he was like just mad drunk and like quiet on the mic, and it was sucky. Like back in the day, people used to be really
Fat Lip. You're saying Fat Lip
Nah,
is the Dell of Far
Dell,
Side.
kind of, yeah, maybe.
You were
was
saying
always
Gravediggers logo.
Gravediggers logos.
So
Numbers.
the first cassette, the first time I ever got arrested shoplifting was stealing the Gravediggers cassette, 6 Feet Deep.
That's dope.
Now, do you remember the first cassette that you
You're not telling.
shoplifted?
You're not telling the story again on the show.
Do I remember what?
Yeah, the first cassette that you shoplifted.
No, but I used to steal like Transformers and put them
And
down.
cans of graffiti.
Or like
Cans of spray
starter
paint.
caps, like baseball starter caps. You would like fold them and put them right here in the front. And
I'm just
and-
picturing Brian Life now with the scally cap, but like the starter like top to it. You know what I mean?
Wait,
Like,
and does that have the
I used to
razor?
wear those.
Does
kind
that
of
have the
baseball
razor
caps.
blade, the Peaky Blinders razor blade in that
No,
cap
not
you're wearing?
but we got we're going on 2 hours now, man, and we could talk forever when we want to, but
Oh,
you know what I
have
mean?
him.
Yeah,
He just did a half yawn.
it's not even because
Did you see that?
Boring,
He did
you're
a
boring.
half
I'm
yawn.
just chilling.
But Brian, before
Did
you
I?
but before you do go,
Oh,
before
my
we do
bad.
go, you look in this camera right here, and you can tell us like everybody where you can find where everyone can find you and everything.
What up, yo? Yeah, you can find me on my Instagram at Brian Life or everywhere over social media at Brian Life. Website is brianlifeart.com. But I'm always updating my IG like to show my most current work. Thanks for checking me out. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Oh, we might have to bring you in as one of those repeat guests.
I'll come back
Hopefully
again.
we can because it's obviously
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
been
more to
mad
talk.
fun.
It's been this is the longest
I
one we've
thought
done
the
by
cats
far.
were gonna be hanging out.
Nah,
with me,
because
though.
I didn't know if you
I'm
like cats or not.
allergic.
I would have liked that. I would have.
But right now, look here, we got the fuck Kurt Schilling gear on. So fuck Kurt Schilling. You know what I mean? Fuck him.
I got the Red Hot
Fuck him.
Chili Peppers
Well,
gear on.
fuck them too. Marty forever. Sense lives. We say this every time. That's what it is.
You know, Red Hot Chili
R.I.P.
Peppers were one of the most
Make
innovative,
sure,
evolving
make
groups
sure
of all
you
time.
make sure you like and subscribe,
The
hit
Big
the
Dookie chain,
bell,
the Big Dookie
all that.
chain.
Peace.
Big Dookie
Peace.
chain. Chain Big Dookie.